Podcast host, Shannon Bream.
We've got some really interesting analysis this week on some House races because Democrats are feeling very bullish on the House. And I think early in the night, we may know a little bit more about that because there's so many New York seats. I mean, that first Eastern time zone of closing polls that may give us something. But remember last time, too, it took us until December to get a lot of these House races settled. So as close as things have been last time around, they're even closer this time.
Yeah, and we may not know. I mean, forget about individual races. We may not even know who controls these things for a little while. What do you know about the legal fights about ballots going on? There are dozens out there, a couple, more high profile than others.
There are all kinds of things about defects with mail-in ballots. Can you cast a provisional ballot? Will that be counted? Virginia had a big win at the Supreme Court this week. They were purging, they said, people who had self-identified as non-citizens from their rolls. DOJ sued them to stop that. They won at the Supreme Court, at least temporarily. The underlying portions of that case will keep playing out. But for now, they can kick those people off the rolls. And there are ways for people to cure that if it turns out that they are citizens. But there are literally more than 200 cases across the country that we are tracking, and I'm sure more to be added by the hour.
Let's dig into Virginia just for a second to explain. So part of the fight was that there's supposed to be this 90-day cooling off period where you can't, where states, it's part of the Voting Rights Act, states can't just do what they call a systematic purge of your voter rolls. And voter rolls are cleaned up because people die, people move. They're cleaned up from time to time, but you're not supposed to do it but 90 days to an election to give people more time to realize that they aren't registered. In this case, the Virginia people are saying, well, no, it wasn't a systematic purge. It was more individualized. And in a lot of these cases, and maybe even a majority of these cases, these people are actual citizens or have become citizens, but they just screwed up on the form. And like you said, they will have a way to rectify this.
Yeah, there is a way under Virginia law. And Youngkin's argument was with his state AG, Jason Mieres, listen, you guys, we've had this law in place since 2006. It was signed by a Democratic governor. It's been used in multiple administrations. And I asked Governor Youngkin specifically, has it been used in the 90-day period leading up to an election? He said yes. And as you said, they've argued this wasn't systematic. They said it was somebody self-identifies either wrongly or rightly as a non-citizen. But there are ways within 10 to 14 days to clean that up. Or if you have a question, you're still fighting about your ballot, you are allowed to go cast a provisional ballot on election day. Virginia has same day registration. You can still do that. And that vote will be held until there's a determination apparently about your status as a citizen or non. So Virginia says with all of these different safeguards built in, they felt like they had a good defense of the law. Although I'm going to tell you, between you and me and anyone else listening, I got the feeling that they were surprised that they won so easily at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, 6-3. Early voting, more than a quarter of the people who were expected to vote have done so already. It's hard to say if there's anything really to be gleaned since Republicans are now voting early in greater numbers. So it's kind of hard to dig into those numbers, although people are trying to use it as a crystal ball.
Yeah, it is really tricky, I think, because you don't know, when people are turning out and some people want to break it down by gender. Clearly, Trump has an advantage with male voters. Harris has an advantage with female voters. So they're like, well, how many females have turned out? Females are outvoting the early votes. You can't just assume people are monolithic. You can try to, look for data nuggets and trends. But it is interesting to me, these record-breaking numbers in state after state after state that people are getting out there and doing this early voting. Gosh, 2020 was so strange because the rules changed in a lot of places. We're in the middle of COVID. People were, some of them, anxious to leave, about leaving their homes and voting in person and all these different options. So I think it's encouraging that people are out there voting and doing it in big numbers, because I think, gosh, what a tragedy as an American to have this right and not use it.
Yeah, and it is, it can be difficult for some people to get out there on a Tuesday. Last minute circumstances come up. There's work, there's kids, so this does give people, more of an opportunity to vote. More people are going to vote. So the last minute thing this year, at least for now, there's a few minutes left to go. Maybe the trash talk. First, you had the Puerto Rico joke. Tony Hinchcliffe joking at the Trump rally in New York, island of garbage, Puerto Rico. And then Biden calling Trump supporters garbage, trying to walk that back. For people who vote on emotion and not actual, big issues, I guess it could matter with very tight margins like this. I know that it's a big talker on Spanish language radio in Pennsylvania, for example. People are worked up, and a lot of people are worked up about being called garbage if they support Donald Trump.
Yeah. And listen, you and I both are constantly looking for the so-called undecided voter. I'd love to pick their brain right now. I don't know that there are undecided people. So does this stuff sway anybody? Is the garbage truck thing, while hilarious and very trolly, is that going to motivate you to vote? I don't know. Getting people off the couch. We know you can pull people all on. They can like TikToks. They can think everything is great and hilarious. They can be supportive. They can wear the t-shirts. If they're not actually registered to vote and getting off the couch and voting, it doesn't matter. Turnout is going to be decisive in this particular race. So whether the stunts with the garbage or the terrible joke by the comedian, whether that motivates people, I don't know. I feel like you were already leaning one way or the other if those two things would be motivational for you. But do they get you were leaning off the couch and to vote? Maybe.
You mentioned last week you're looking forward to former President Trump on Joe Rogan's podcast, 3 hours. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that has to be a record for the longest interview of any presidential candidate ever. I heard the clips. It was an interesting, casual conversation.
It really was. And I had it on as I was doing show prep last Saturday. So I heard all of it, didn't physically watch all of it. I do like to watch the body language, on that show in particular. I think it's interesting. So saw some of that, but listened to the whole thing. And I thought, if you don't know about President Trump and you hear, a lot of what you were hearing last week, that he's fascist and crazy, a dictator, he's going to take over the country and the military is going to turn against the American people. Of course, you're not going to vote for that. If you aren't, really dug in and kind of studying the policy positions, you hear that and you're like, oh, that's terrifying. I wouldn't want that person to be president. But if you watched Rogan, you'd be like, wait a minute, that's not that guy. I think he's best when he's conversational. We show his speeches all the time, but he's preaching to the choir and he does say outrageous things. And he says things that get a lot of attention and a lot of criticism. But when you saw him talking with Rogan, you didn't have to necessarily agree with his positions. But if you're just assessing him as a person, you would say, okay, well, he can logically defend why he believes a certain thing, even if I think it's crazy and I don't believe it. You can see his thought process and how comfortable he was with Rogan. Of course, they have this connection over the, fighting scene, and they know all the same fighters, and that was a big part of the discussion. You would maybe zone out if you're not into that, but there was a definite comfort level. You could see whether it was about environment or about government regulation or, fighting over water rights, whatever it was. I mean, Trump was very comfortable jumping in and having an in-depth conversation about multiple topics. So I think it probably benefited with him with anybody who was truly undecided and watched it and thought, okay, now I have a better picture of who this person is. But so much of what we see from him, like I said, is those speeches. And that is a very one-note kind of thing. The Rogan thing is, a few more notes in the personality box for him.
Yeah. Kamala Harris did her, what they called her club. There been plenty of events since and a few still to come, but she did what her called this closing argument thing on the Ellipse in DC. That was probably, the big one with a lot of people watching. How'd you think she did?
Well, I think that she probably accomplished what she wanted to, which was let's reset and refocus. Remember what happened January 6th. This guy is a threat. That's clearly her closing argument. So if you were a fan of hers, you probably thought this is solid. It was a good speech. It hit the right notes. It reminded people of all this kind of thing. If you're on the other side, you think, this is fear mongering. It was a very specific setting that was drawn to, draw people backwards where they've been talking about their campaigns about the future. The Democrats are happy to look back when you're talking about things like January 6th. But when President Trump talks about 2020 or relitigating that, then they're saying, oh, he's living in the past. So I think how you felt about that speech is, very much dictated about how you felt about these two candidates before the speech.
Right. Finally, look, another indication of divided politics, the secret voting thing. The Harris campaign is telling women, like, look, you can vote for us and don't tell. It's okay if your husband, if your husband doesn't like me, you can still vote for me and just don't tell him. And then now there's this Axios Harris poll that I thought was interesting that says 48% of young voters say they have lied to people close to them about who they voted for because of peer pressure. Their family doesn't, their family disagrees. Their friend group doesn't like who they voted for. And so they just lie and say, oh yeah, no, I voted for who you like too.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Somebody just, crazy anecdotal stuff. I think they were at an Arizona State football game and they were going around and just shoving the microphone in these young people's face and like, who are you voting for? Who are you voting? And a lot of people sort of freaked out like, oh no, I'm not going to publicly talk about who I voted for. But many others were willing to say, oh, Trump, oh, Harris, whatever it is. But a lot of them, you could see that they would look at their friends
Right.
that were standing there with them, sort of like, who are we voting for? Are we publicly saying who we're voting for? So I think not surprising that people would mislead others around them about who they voted for. Might be the only way to get through Thanksgiving this year.
We'll see. Shannon Bream, host of Fox News Sunday and the Living the Bream podcast. Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks, Chris.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com.
Barbara is a real Prevagen user, and this is her story.
I'm Barbara, and I'm from St. Joseph, Michigan. I'm a retired school librarian. I'm also a library board trustee, a mother of two, and a grandmother of two. I like to be healthy. I exercise a lot. I eat in a very healthy manner. I was working full-time, taking care of an ailing husband full-time. In short, I had an awful lot on my plate. Basically, I thought that my memory wasn't as good as it had been. I needed all the help I could get. I saw the commercials for Prevagen. I started taking it, and it helped. I noticed my memory was better. There was definite improvement. I take a supplement for my heart. Why not one for my brain? I've been taking Prevagen for a little over 5 years.
Prevagen is available in stores everywhere without a prescription, based on a clinical study of subgroups of individuals who are cognitively normal or mildly impaired. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
Robinhood is introducing forecast contracts so you can trade the presidential election. Through Robinhood, you can now trade financial derivatives contracts on who will win the U.S. presidential election, Harris or Trump, and watch as contract prices react to real-time market sentiment. Each contract you own will pay $1 on January 8th, 2025, if that candidate is confirmed as the next U.S. president by Congress. Learn more about the presidential election contracts on Robinhood at robinhood.com/election. The risk of loss in trading commodities interest can be substantial. You should therefore carefully consider whether such trading is suitable for you in light of your financial condition. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Commodity interest trading is not appropriate for everyone. Displayed prices are based on real-time market sentiment. This event contract is offered by Robinhood Derivatives, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Exchange and regulatory fees apply. Learn more at robinhood.com/.
Danny Define here, host of the all-new show, The Next Gen, with me, Danny Define. We're going to cover all the hard-hitting topics on this show, from national headlines to things happening right here in St. Louis.
Next Gen with Danny Define, Sunday nights at 8.
Right here on News Talk STL.
I've got a way for you to really dress up your home, and only one guy I'd trust to do it. Michael Proctor, like doctor. Michael will personally examine which drapes, blinds, or shutters will complement your home. He doesn't just measure, he designs, and to make sure it's done right, he will install them. All this saves you money on custom-made drapes, shades, and shutters. Proctor, spelled like doctor. ProctorDrapery.com. ProctorDrapery.com.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Agree.
I think conservatives have it wrong.
Or disagree.
I couldn't agree with you more.
The conversation happens here.
I agree with you on Trump.
I'm shaking my head. I'm one of your liberal Democratic listeners, and I don't get why any of this even matters.
Because your voice matters.
Everybody told him he couldn't do it, and then he did do it.
That's what you got to do. You got to play hardball.
So I want to hear what people think and be able to talk about it.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
In this historic year, more Democrats, independents, and Republicans
watch Fox News than any other news network.
Democracy 24.
Your freedom, your vote.
Special election night coverage Tuesday on Fox News Channel.
Look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Friday, November 1st. This is the Fox News Rundown. The fight for the battleground states is both presidential nominees making their closing arguments in the same city in Wisconsin today. Fox's Jeff Manasso has more.
It's a sign that Wisconsin could decide the presidency as both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump return to the state 2 days after Harris rallied supporters in Madison.
When I am elected, I will walk in with a to-do list focused on your you.
And Trump rallied supporters in Green Bay.
My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true.
Both Trump and Harris will be in Milwaukee at competing rallies today, as the city's Marquette University Law School poll shows the race in the battleground state at a dead heat. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The Associated Press reporting the White House altered the transcript of President Biden's controversial garbage remarks this week, where he appeared to call Trump supporters garbage. This despite concerns from federal stenographers who document the remarks for historic purposes. The president causing the uproar while speaking to Latino activists, addressing comments made by a comedian at Donald Trump's rally last weekend at Madison Square Garden, where he called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. The head of the stenographer's office said the change that was made to the transcript was a breach of protocol. President Biden is in a critical swing state today, announcing new protections for union workers.
At a union hall in Philadelphia, President Biden will announce more than 1 million union pensions have been saved through a provision in the American Rescue Plan, a pandemic stimulus package. President Biden has called himself the most pro-union president in history, and the administration says actions taken during his term have expanded workplace safety and made it easier to organize and collectively bargain. President Biden returns to Pennsylvania tomorrow for a campaign stop in his birthplace of Scranton. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Opening statements are set today in the manslaughter trial of a former Marine accused in a New York City subway death. Fox's Tanya J. Powers reports.
After a sometimes contentious jury selection process that lasted for several days, the trial of Daniel Penny is expected to get underway with opening statements. Penny is charged with second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide in the death of Jordan Neely. Penny, who is white, put Neely, who was black and unarmed, in a chokehold for 6 minutes on a subway car in May of last year, resulting in Neely's death. Penny has pleaded not guilty and says Neely was threatening others on the train. If convicted of the manslaughter charge, Penny faces up to 15 years in prison. A conviction on the homicide charge could add up to 4 more years. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
Is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and newstalkstl.com.
On the next
Larry Connors, USA.
We continue to hear more and more stories about scanned ballots, double ballot counting, and all kinds of criminal activity.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Katie here. When it comes to your home's comfort, you don't need gimmicks, you need guarantees. At Elite Comfort Experts, we're your hometown comfort heroes. No flashy deals, just reliable service you can count on every time. From tune-ups to total system replacements, we're here to keep your family comfortable year-round. No nonsense, just expert care because your home deserves the best. Call Elite Comfort Experts today, where hometown service meets real results. Elite Comfort Experts, St. Charles' trusted hometown comfort heroes. Call Elite at 636-887-0971.
Replacing your roof is always a big deal and a big decision. That's why I want you to call my friends, the folks that we've trusted with our homestead, Eureka Contracting and Roofing. 636-938-ROOF. That's 636-938-ROOF. They are veteran-owned, over 30 years of experience in the construction and insurance industry. They'll replace 100% of your roof, siding, fascia, and gutters. They'll come to you with a personal consultation. Give them a call anytime that Mother Nature strikes you. 636-938-ROOF. Available 24/7 at eurekacontracting.com. That's eurekacontracting.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
The O'Reilly Update, brought to you by Seavers JCB. Visit them at their St. Peter's location.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. Car Shield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Friday, conspiracy people are discussing whether President Biden is actually trying to help Donald Trump. Mr. Biden's statement that Trump supporters are garbage was so over the top, it forced Kamala Harris to repudiate it, making Joe look like a poltroon. My analysis is that the current president of the United States has little grasp of reality and is liable to say anything at any time. One of the few who disagrees with me is Vice President Harris, who will not even acknowledge her boss has any mental deficits at all. You know, there's denial and then there's delusion. I do believe that Ms. Harris understands exactly what's going on and, of course, has benefited greatly from Biden's decline. In a Democratic primary, it is likely that Kamala Harris would have lost to a more moderate Democrat. But because Biden was forced out, the progressives who now run the Democratic Party were more than happy to anoint a fellow traveler, Kamala Harris. In the end, the chaos the Biden-Harris administration has caused will doom the Democratic machine this election cycle, in my opinion. With the election just a few days away, I hope I'm correct. Back after this. Are you feeling the impact of the recent changes in the timeshare industry? My friends at Lone Star Transfer are the only company I trust to help you. For more than a decade, they have successfully helped over 20,000 owners get out of their timeshare with an A+ rating at the Better Business Bureau. Customer service is their priority. For a free consultation and a guaranteed solution, 855-551-7066 or go to LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Leah Hill with your first alert forecast. Clear tonight for any trick-or-treaters. The cloud cover is decreasing and the wind's not as gusty through the evening either. Temperatures overnight falling to 43 degrees, but if you're north of St. Louis, you will be even colder with some dipping into the 30s. Friday gives us a dry day, lots of sun, a high of 63. Watch for rain chances to develop over the weekend. That is your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
You can't buy a best friend. You can love them, walk them, pet them, and care for them, whether they want you to or not. You can take a picture or 50. You can fly to the moon, travel the world, or just stay in bed. You can't buy a best friend like that, but you can adopt one. There are millions of pets waiting for a best friend just like you. Help us save them all at bestfriends.org.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Having your first cup of coffee? Mike's on his third. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Normally, I would say something really trite and cliche like, hey, it's the weekend before the election. It's the calm before the storm, or something stupid like that. But it just kind of feels like the front end of the storm is already on us for a variety of reasons. And I'm also tempted to say, well, hey, at least it's all over on Tuesday. But I think we all know that's just the next step of the beginning of the next level of whatever the chaos is. All right, relax. We're going to get through it all one way or the other, folks. All right, Mike Ferguson here. Happy Friday to you. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. A little bit later on today, this is going to be fun. 7:05. Bill Eigel, man, I tell you what, you thought he didn't hold back before when he was on the air with us. He's really unleashed now. We're going to get his take on what's happening around the campaign trail and what's happening with Missouri lawmakers right now as well. That's at 7:05. In a more local race, will Sam Page have that check put on his desire for unlimited power? Well, that could come down to what happens in the county's 6th district, where Republican Mike Archer is trying to become the newest member of the county council. He's got to get past a Democrat there. That is a Republican seat, but it's not a gimme. He was on with us on Thursday and gave us his update on what his campaign and, frankly, what his priorities look like. And it's something like this.
There is going to be a new county council person in your district because you've obviously unseated the incumbent in the Republican primary with Ernie Tracus. So congratulations on you win there, Mike.
Thank you.
And so you've got yourself a race in South County.
Yes.
I know that for those of us who live in other districts, we're wanting to make sure Sam Page stays in check. But when you're looking at what the council and the county government needs to be focusing on in general, where should we start that discussion in your district?
Well, where we should start that discussion in our district, and when I knock doors, one of the things that happens is that consistently people tell me about the safety and security of the region, and particularly in the 6th district. And I am very close. I spent 18 years in the prosecuting attorney's office, so I've got a lot of contacts in law enforcement. We are projecting a 200 officer shortfall this next year.
For the county police or with all of them put together?
St. Louis County Police.
County police, wow.
And so that is going to have to be the first priority. And police have never been Sam Page's priority. That's the first thing. Law enforcement has never been his priority. He doesn't understand it. And he just thinks it's a necessary evil. Obviously, with me spending that much time in the prosecuting attorney's office, I understand how safety and security affects everyone in dealing with victims of crime. So that's going to be the first priority that we're going to have to address with Sam Page. The other composition that we have is that the magic number for St. Louis County Council is 5. And when I say the magic number is 5, that is the number of votes to override one of his vetoes. So once that we have that coalition of 5, with me being on the council, we can pretty much tell Sam Page to take a hike on a lot of his policies, particularly like building what I call the Page Palace, where he wants to demolish the county council building. And it doesn't go without notice that it's named after a Republican, Lawrence Roos. And probably if that building were to be built, it would be the Dr. Sam Page building. Mm-hmm. And that's why I call it the Page Palace. But for $683 million, when we're already $40 million in debt. So I want to look at other alternatives, such as sprinkler systems, because that is the rub with the city of Clayton. And, a lot of people will say, well, it's an old building, it needs to be torn down. I don't have to go very far to point to the Wainwright building downtown, how that beautiful building has been retrofitted and is usable now. The other thing is that once you put sprinkler systems in, it's a situation of where, nobody has ever died in a building with sprinkler systems. So if you put sprinkler systems on all the floors, because only 3 floors of that building right now have sprinkler systems, we can retrofit that. Mm-hmm. So safety and security, the budget, and basically the permitting process are going to be my major issues.
Permitting as far as like businesses or things like that?
Yeah. There's a place that was near my house. It was a donut shop, and it took them 1.5 years to open. And what happened was that the permitting process, you would get different people in there with the permitting process. And obviously, we need to take care of the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. But this has gone overboard in terms of the permitting process. Now, if you really think about it, and, I've got my MBA as well as my Juris Doctorate, as well as an undergraduate degree in finance, you've got a situation of where you are paying rent, you are paying expenses for 1.5 years, but you're not having any money come in. And so you got to have the site up and running for the inspectors to take a look at it. And, that definitely needs to be streamlined.
And also hit Sam Page for denying us donuts.
Yeah, seriously.
It is one of the best, and it is one of the best donut shops that you can imagine. And it's run by an immigrant Vietnamese family. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you go in there, and it's one of those, you go in there on Saturday mornings, and the 10-year-old daughter is working the donut shop. And I don't mind buying a donut because she plays soccer with my granddaughter. And nice. and it's one of those situations of where you're like, I know that my dollar for that donut is going to pay for her soccer cleats.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And things along those lines. So those are the sorts of businesses that I want to encourage. And then when Locke, his name is Locke, when Locke showed me this letter and he said, Mike, what does this mean? And St. Louis County sent him a letter about diversity in the workplace.
While they're denying him 1.5 years
exactly.
worth of income.
And I'm listening to this because grandma in the back does not speak English, and she's speaking Vietnamese to the kids. And I'm like, I don't think we have to worry about that.
No, I mean, but see, these are the things I know that Gabe's got a question. I mean, we talk about, obviously we've got our policy and frankly, moral differences with Sam Page. And I don't think anybody's been harder on him in the media than I have on this, but what you're laying out right here, Mike, we're visiting with Mike Archer, who's running for county council in the 6th district, your Republican nominee. These are the basic things of government when they get in the way of businesses and people's livelihoods. So is this one of those topics that a consultant will tell you to campaign on? Well, it's not that sexy. Go hit him. This is the important stuff. I mean, this is the stuff we talk about: economic development. We talk about business. We talk about families. We talk about them. This is the stuff where government is in the way. This is the prime example of it.
Yeah. And we used to have a saying in the military: lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way. Mm-hmm. And, in this situation, we just need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
Because Locke knows what's best for his family and what's best for his business. And he's doing, a land office business there, there on Telegraph. And it's just one of those situations. We just need to get out of the way.
Yeah, and that's kind of where my question was going to go in terms of economic development in the county here, where obviously getting out of the way in terms of regulations is a thing, but what else can the council do, and what else can we encourage out of the executive, I guess, as best we can, to get out of the way to make sure that the big employers kind of come through. So we've got people who are going to work after they're coming from their office, they can grab one of those donuts.
Exactly. Well, they close at 2:00 though. That's unfortunate. Okay. That's unfortunate.
So on the way into the office,
on the way into the office, they could grab one of those donuts. But the problem is that 6th district is the largest unincorporated area within St. Louis County, and that is the economic engine. The problem is that a lot of people don't realize that if you got out of the way, if you let businesses develop and flourish down there, we have several factors. Number one, good union paying jobs that are going to go in and do that. Secondly, we're going to be looking at employment. We're going to be looking at entrepreneurship. And Sam Page doesn't understand that you need to get out of the way. We don't have to go back very far when you look at the COVID restrictions that he imposed.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have that dictatorial hand with the COVID and basically that mentality, that's going to be in the way. And that's why I need to be on the St. Louis County Council, because we will have at least probably 5, if not 6 votes against him. Because as you guys know, being political insiders, the block was Mark Harder, Dennis Hancock, Shalonda Webb, and Retta Days against him. 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. Now, and I've had discussions with Gretchen Bangert, a Democrat, and, for obvious reasons, I don't think she's a real big Sam Page fan.
No.
Okay.
No.
So yeah, and I mean that so tongue in cheek. And Gretchen and I have talked, and it's one of those situations of where we probably agree on about 90% of the issues. Because if you look out here at a pothole, it's like, is that a Democratic pothole or is that a Republican pothole?
Right.
Does your front end need to be aligned due to Democrat or Republican? No, it was the pothole out there. So it is probably one of the most nonpartisan areas in there. Now then, it's a mentality that I think that Sam Page has in terms of ruling with an iron fist, and that needs to be checked. And that is the way that we're going to be checking that, in terms of me being an independent voice, because, and I don't want to bring up yesterday's news, but Ernie Tracos was so far in Sam Page's pocket that it was pathetic. And I'm not going to be that way.
Okay, real quick, because we just got a minute or so left. Sure. We're visiting with Mike Archer, the Republican nominee for St. Louis County Council in the 6th District. You mentioned the $40 million shortfall on this.
Right.
Obviously, Sam Page and some of the other county council members, they're going to say, well, we're going to have to raise some taxes. We've got to get that revenue in on there. What's the way we should deal with that? Because $40 million is bad. But what's really bad is if that's allowed to turn into 60, 80, 100, 200, if it's a snowball keeps going like has happened in other areas.
Yeah, the way that we reverse that is twofold. Number one, by encouraging businesses. When you encourage businesses, that's going to bring more revenue in. And that's exactly why the 6th District is going to be instrumental in that, because we are the largest unincorporated area. So we bring businesses in, we increase revenues. And when we increase revenues, that bring, as the saying goes, a rising tide raises all ships. So therefore, that's going to help us there. The second thing is that, and I've sat in on these tedious budget meetings, because those are open to the public, we need to cut. We need to cut expenses. There are situations of where every department could cut expenses. And one of the things that I did when I was in the prosecutor's office, I presented those budgets to the St. Louis County Council. And I helped get those numbers together and things along those lines. So I've been on the other side of the table and I understand what's going on. So I think that the shortfall, not in raising taxes and putting an extra burden on our citizens, but I think letting that entrepreneurial spirit, giving the catalyst for that, so that they could go ahead and increase their businesses and actually bring more revenue in.
First morning news dump of the day comes your way in just about 2 minutes and 22 seconds right after this information segment right here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Company. Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Join the East Central Area Missouri Right to Life for their Vote No Convoy event, Saturday, November 2nd. Gather for a vehicle convoy starting in Eureka. Join us as we encourage voters to keep Missouri pro-life and vote no on Amendment 3. Meet at the commuter lot at 201 West 4th Street. Arrival time is 8:30 a.m. Convoy departs at 9:30. Reserve your spot now on Facebook by searching No on Amendment 3 Convoy or call 314-580-9802. Join the convoy in Eureka Saturday, November 2nd. Paid for by East Central Area Missouri Right to Life.
Looking to enhance your outdoor space? Trust Lee Concrete Block, your local experts since 1947. From Vertiblock and retaining walls to ready-mix concrete and outdoor kits, we've got all your residential and commercial needs covered. As a family-owned business, we take pride in our A+ BBB rating and industry affiliations with special discounts for military and first responders. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, or distributor, make a decision set in stone. Call 314-638-9940 or visit our showroom today.
Hey, Columbo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
Hi, I'm Rodney Wallner.
And I'm Jen Wallner with the Wallner Home Selling Team at Berkshire Hathaway.
Hey, Jen, how do you sell your home for top dollar?
That's easy. Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What if I want a flexible commission plan?
Call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
What's the best time to sell your home?
Right now, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
For all your real estate needs, call the Wallner Home Selling Team at 314-810-SOLD.
That's 314-810-SOLD.
The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
All right, while all eyes are on the race for president, what will the makeup of Congress look like after the elections?
Oh, that's a big question.
Huge question here as well. And a little bit later on today, combine Mark Cuban and The View, and of course you get brilliance.
Oh, yes. There was just a little misunderstanding. Nice tie-in.
Oh, my goodness. And one aspect of early voting is going to be argued in court today here in the metro area. Let's dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, let me do a little throwback since it's Flashback Friday. How about this? Quick reminder, daylight saving time ends on Sunday. Now, I would do the trite, set your clocks back, and it's not 1987 anymore.
Where's Cher when you need her?
I know. Turn back time.
You got to turn back time.
So just enjoy the extra hour of sleep. All of your clocks are going to fix themselves anyway for the most part,
Okay.
except the one on my stove. I have to redo that one.
And the one in my car, maybe. I don't know. I can never figure that
See, the
one
one
out.
in my car automatically changes.
Uh,
Yeah, even like when I drive through like into a different time zone, I always like look because it will flip when I cross the time zone.
Wow, that's pretty snazzy.
It's very snazzy and it's creepy that they know exactly where I am when I'm driving around. But anyway, all right, let's start off with the dueling sound bites from the different rallies. I think I did Donald Trump's first yesterday, so let's do Kamala Harris's first here. She was in Las Vegas, and rest assured, she's got plans for our economy.
At the top of my list is bringing down the cost of your living. That will be my focus every single day as president. I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries.
Yeah, good luck with the federal price ban federal ban on gouging in groceries. Grocery stores have a tiny margin on their food.
Less than 1.5%.
Oh my goodness! If she really understood the economic ignorance of what that means when she claims that it's not happening at the grocery store.
No.
It's just not. All right, and Donald Trump also in Nevada as well. The vice president was in Las Vegas. The former president was in Henderson, which is basically right down the road. And he was talking about basically the broad impact of the Biden-Harris, among other things, immigration debacle.
Through our open border, Kamala Harris is also actively aiding and abetting the worst human traffickers, child smugglers, drug dealers, and bloodthirsty criminal networks on the planet. There's nobody worse than what she's catering to.
All right, and it's not just about the White House. Keep in mind, I hope everybody also keeps an eye on what's happening with Congress. Republicans actually hoping to win a 52-48 majority in the Senate. That's where their goal is.
With just days to go before Tuesday's election, Capitol insiders say expectations have only grown for a major GOP victory on Tuesday. Republicans feel certain they'll flip one seat in West Virginia and another in bright red Montana. That alone would give them a 51-49 majority, but expectations have also grown beyond that. One GOP insider telling The Hill, quote, "At this point, we have to have 52. Anything short of that, some analysts say, would leave GOP leaders disappointed at a lost opportunity." Bob Eigel reporting.
And over on the House side, Republicans trying to increase the majority. Speaker Mike Johnson was on the story with Martha McCallum on Fox, and he says he feels good about their chances to give themselves a little breathing room.
If you want to end the madness of the Biden-Harris policies, the woke progressive left, and all the things they've done to us on the border, the economy, crime, the weakness on the world stage, this is our opportunity. You got to elect people like Allison Esposito in New York 18 and all of our Republicans up and down the ballot, because that's how we're going to save the country.
All right, so I don't know what's going to happen. There were a lot of high hopes in 2022 with Republicans as well, so don't count your chickens before they're hatched. I know people are going to get mad at me for saying this.
More slogans.
I'm more worried about the way Congress is made up than even the White House. I think that's the crucial thing.
Attention St. Charles, looking for a local spot that satisfies all your cravings? Mario's Donut Restaurant is your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches and omelets to delicious gyros, Mexican dishes, salads, and wraps, we've got it all. And don't forget our famous donuts. They're so good, they'll make your eyes glaze over. Dine in or carry out, our friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit. Call 636-447-4515 or visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
Seavers JCB has amazing deals on JCB mini excavators ranging from 2 tons to 10 tons. The choice is yours to take 5 on one of these great offers. Take 0% financing for 5 years or take up to a $5,500 cash rebate and 5-year warranty. See terms and conditions for details. These offers are for a limited time, so head to your nearest Seavers JCB and check out their full line of JCB construction equipment or visit SeaversJCB.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros are also the best for siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros can help your home at gutterpros.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Hi, Kirk Hilsinger here, and I'm the new chairman of the St. Louis Republican Central Committee. We are looking for election workers for the upcoming general election. We need patriots to step up and get involved. We also invite you to our meetings that take place the first Thursday of every month at 3710 Hampton Avenue. And we remind you to vote no on 3, yes on 7, and no on Prop A on November 5th. For more information, visit our new website at stl-gop.com. That's stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Allegations of a White House cover-up surrounding President Biden's libel of Trump supporters as garbage. The White House allegedly pressured stenographers to alter their transcript of Mr. Biden's remarks, making them more favorable to the president, be a major breach of protocol. Senator John Thune says Biden's garbage comments speak volumes.
I think it just reminds the American people of the view, the lens through which a lot of Democrats view Republican voters across this country.
A South Dakota Republican talking with the Salem Radio Network's Hugh Hewitt. Today, we'll find both of the presidential candidates in Wisconsin. Their campaigns have spent hundreds of millions on ads in Pennsylvania. White House correspondent Greg Clugston touring the all-important blue wall states.
For many Pennsylvania residents, Election Day can't come soon enough because they've been inundated with political ads. Given the state's importance in the Electoral College vote count, Trump and Harris have poured in more than $500 million advertising dollars on TV, radio, and social media. The state has also seen the candidates visit frequently. Trump has focused on Rust Belt towns and rural areas, while Harris's priority has been on Philadelphia and here in Allegheny County, which includes Pittsburgh. On the Blue Wall States tour, Greg Clugston, Gibsonia, Pennsylvania.
And campaigning for Harris in Michigan, former President Clinton admitting the economy was better under Donald Trump than under Biden-Harris. Russia's top diplomat hosting his North Korean counterpart amid reports that thousands of North Korean troops are fighting alongside the Russians in Ukraine. 2 people killed, a half dozen injured. An early morning shooting happened during a party in downtown Orlando, Florida. A 17-year-old suspect is under arrest. On Wall Street, Dow futures up 136 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's Matt Walsh, podcaster, best-selling children's author, and world-renowned DEI consultant. My hit comedy and #1 grossing documentary of the decade, Am I Racist?, is now streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus. I went undercover into the world of DEI and got the elites of the establishment to say all the quiet parts out loud. The only way to watch Am I Racist is with a Daily Wire Plus membership. Head to dailywire.com/subscribe. Use code DEI for 35% off your new annual membership. Don't miss it. Am I Racist? Streaming now exclusively on Daily Wire Plus.
What are you going to do if Kamala wins? Moving to gold now is an option.
At Premier Gold, we specialize in helping those with a 401k or other types of retirement accounts convert their vulnerable paper assets into physical gold. Today, we'd like to send you a free gold election kit to help you decide if this is right for you. Call 606-800-8000. Premier Gold is not a financial advisor. Please consult with your advisor before investing. Call 606.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Cleathermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check westerntireauto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
My name is Alad Gross, and I'm running to be your next Attorney General because our Attorney General sucks and we really need a new one. He's wasted so much of our money and blown so many cases, he doesn't even keep count anymore. As Attorney General, I'll stop scam calls, crush corruption, protect our families and our freedoms, and shut down abusive puppy mills. This election, don't just vote for party. Vote for good government. Vote Alad Gross. Paid for by Alad Gross from Missouri, Frederick Doss, Treasurer.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Like Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion. St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk. News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
It's Friday.
All right. Should election challengers and watchers be present at early voting? Yeah. Also, Donald Trump and his women or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Got a few things to cover here.
I think he has a binder full of them.
Yeah. 6:05 right now. We'll get to that in just a minute.
No, that was the other guy.
Oh, that's the other guy.
That was
Sorry.
Romney.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. My mistake.
All right. Our video streaming back up and running. So you can check that out everywhere. I am telling you in the 7 o'clock hour, you want to be checking us out on video or at least checking in on the social media for the pictures. I'm just going to leave it at that right now. Okay. So definitely you want to be around in the 7 o'clock hour. Okay. Real quick here. There is a court hearing today in St. Charles County over early voting and poll watchers and challengers and things like that. We mentioned this yesterday in the news that there was a lawsuit filed and a court issued an injunction. And I don't see what the injunction actually accomplished. Either it didn't do anything or it was just ignored. I'm not really quite sure. But either way, there's a hearing today in St. Charles County. One of the Republican Central Committee members filed a lawsuit saying, I'm a Republican poll watcher or challenger, whichever role he was in or wanted to be in. And they weren't letting me do that at the early voting. And Kurt Barr, the director of elections, is telling media the state statute specifically says poll watchers and challengers are authorized on election day. And Kurt Barr is arguing, well, the state statute is maybe outdated, probably is outdated because it didn't take into consideration early voting because it didn't exist at the time. Maybe that needs to be updated. But he's arguing the state statute says state law says that you're there on election day.
Right.
So this may be a matter of everybody is closer to agreement than it would seem in the media. Now, I don't know if there's any, like, because St. Charles County, listen, the Republicans in St. Charles County, you all know that I'm telling the truth here. And I'm talking to everybody in St. Charles County. You know, there's a big riff and beef and factionalism that's going on in St. Charles County. We know that. You got conservatives against conservatives. There really aren't that many establishment Republican, moderate, middle of the road Republicans in St. Charles County. It's much more conservative than St. Louis County. And there's a lot of good conservatives in St. Louis County. But there's a bunch of beef, that people have with each other, which is weird. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this is like the heart and soul of the state Republican Party right now. That and Greene County in Southwest Missouri.
Seriously.
So
get your crap together, guys.
Right. So this is a situation where it may be a matter of the judge either says, well, yeah, that's what the law says, or the judge says, I rule that the intent was for this to be election day applies to everything.
Right, to all election proceedings.
To all of the, and so if that's the case, it does not change that you can vote early, period.
Okay.
Just a matter of whether or not the parties will get all those people in there on those days. So I think that it might be a case where even if there's a personal beef between the people, and I don't know if that's the case or not, but it's St. Charles County, so it might be.
Feels that way.
Yeah. But also it may be a matter, I don't know that Kurt Barr is opposed to poll watchers or challengers being there. From what I can tell, it's just a matter of he's saying this is how we read what the state law is.
Right.
So if the state law needs to be adjusted, okay, fine. If the judge rules that the intent is that election day was any day people were allowed to come in and vote, and that now includes early voting, okay. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So if nothing else, it might be good that this is clarified, and it's going to work out possibly good for everybody, not Republican or Democrat, just everybody. Because if the poll watchers can be there, the poll challengers can be there, fine. Although the votes aren't being actually counted until Tuesday.
Right.
So, but the challengers who could be there to say that person is or is not eligible and challenge it, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be there to early voting.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, I guess one of the things I wonder is, okay, so we've already got the election judges who are supposed to be representative of both parties, but now we also have like a second layer. Is that kind of the purpose?
Yeah. And these aren't like in state. You don't have to do it, but basically
they're volunteers.
The law allows for Republicans and Democratic parties to have people there along with the judges to be able to basically look over the shoulder and say, wait a minute, that doesn't look like that right person. So if I walked in and said, yeah, I'm Gabe Pfeiffer, I'm ready to vote. You know what, here's my utility bill or whatever,
right.
And the judge goes, close enough, whatever. And there's a challenger who'd say, whoa.
Right.
His signature doesn't match that. That doesn't look right.
Right.
That sort of thing. So
throwing a flag on the play.
Right. Throwing a flag on the play, and then ends up being a provisional vote while they go check something else out. Or somebody's like, no, you're not registered to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see any reason why that person shouldn't be at early voting as well.
Oh, sure.
And Kurt Barr may be correct. And he may say, state law says on election day, this is what I'm bound by. And if the judge rules that it can apply to early voting, I don't know that that's a defeat for anybody.
Was anybody, I guess the other half of this is, was anybody trying to be an observer and was being disallowed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's where the lawsuit came
that's
from.
where okay. I assume so, but I hadn't heard that portion of the report for some reason.
That's where all this came from.
Okay.
So we'll probably know by this afternoon what the ruling is going to be on that. I think the judge, because early voting ends on Monday, I suspect we'll get a pretty quick ruling on this, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, 6:11. So, oh gosh, Mark Cuban decided to contribute to our national dialogue.
That's what we got to call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
On The View.
This is great.
So it went well and it was really productive.
Absolutely.
Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
All the gobblers there were really happy to hear him.
I try not to watch The View. I mean, I will watch clips of it as I need to for this. What I do for you people, you have no idea what I do for you people.
The sacrifices you make.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a hero. I'm just, So they're talking to Mark Cuban for whatever reason, obviously about how horrible Orange Man Bad is.
Right.
And they decided to go to the misogyny and women thing. And here's the clip in question that set the world on fire.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
You are dumb, Mark.
Oh yeah, it's kind of another. Is this garbage gate too? it's like it's just because it's making its way around the internet just pretty much just as quickly as the first insult.
Well, but how they reacted on The View? I mean, all four of the biddies on there were like, absolutely.
Yeah, like you got the head shakes, you got that's a very profound truth you just kind of laid down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think don't we have another
We
clip
actually
of their
have a
clip
clip
reaction?
of The View,
the View's reaction,
because when they go on there, so I don't know if he knows that it should be in the hotkeys, but yeah. So this is one of those where at some point less is more, Mark. You know,
yes.
I mean, and The View does what it does. Listen, media is biased. We're biased. I mean, we come through this. Our unofficial motto here is life through a conservative lens on this radio station. Most of the shows are kind of like that on the show here.
Yeah.
But it's it's a matter of to say, now listen, does Donald Trump have a history that's sordid with many women? Yes,
of course.
Without a doubt.
But the examples of strong, intelligent women that he surrounded himself with is also pretty long. So that's part of the problem.
If you go to Red State, which essentially Red State right now is basically a Donald Trump blog. That's what it's become. Literally, like every single story is something about Donald Trump.
Right.
I mean, that's. But on this particular one, they have taken social media clips. There's got to be 10 different, like, pretty high profile women who are responding to it, and it's a pretty big takedown. I mean,
absolutely,
it's pretty harsh. It's body slam after body slam after body slam after body slam of Mark Cuban.
I put a little mini list together late last night when I heard this, so I don't know how it compares to the Red State list, which I wonder if Susie Moore might have put that together. But
well, no,
maybe not.
It was one of the other writers.
Okay,
of course, she's deputy managing editor. I'm sure she had her hands on it.
Yeah. So here's my little list that I put together last night: Tulsi Gabbard, Monica Crowley, Laura Trump, Kellyanne Conway, Kayleigh McEnany, Melania, who speaks 5 or 6 languages.
Yeah, well, I got a different opinion on her, but yeah.
But she's smart, I think. Hope Hicks, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. The list goes on and on.
Yeah. And a lot of those
Mercedes Schlepp.
A lot of those women are actually doing the video things on there. They're actually doing the social media posts. So there's a lot of overlap right there.
All right. That was my little list that I put together.
Who was Sage Steele was another one
Sarah
on there.
Sanders.
He said Sarah Sanders.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was on the list.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because actually when you look at the, just like Donald Trump or don't like Donald Trump, to say he didn't have smart women around him, that's just nonsense.
It's not true.
Look at his administration.
There were not true.
There were a lot. There were a lot of women in very high profile positions.
Now, to be fair, the left has trouble identifying women.
It's true. They don't even know what a woman is.
I mean,
that's true.
They have some problem. I mean, you look at there was the deputy secretary of the Navy or something or whatever that person's name is. You got the one dude who was caught stealing bags at the airport and stuff like that.
Right.
You got the people on the front of the White House lawn, it's showing the fake jubblies. So they have trouble. They have trouble identifying women to begin with.
That's true.
I will give them a pass.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't like smart, intelligent women, and we're like, you like women with male genitalia, which are not women. So maybe you guys need to sit this one out.
Some of these things are not like the others.
No, they're not.
Speaking of things not being like the others, think of Mark Cuban owning a basketball team in the NBA that's 75% at least white in a league that's probably 80 to 85% black.
Oh, I hadn't noticed.
Which
that.
team does he own again?
Is it Dallas Mavericks?
I don't know.
I haven't watched the NBA in so long.
I have no idea
what you're saying.
I didn't know there were any white players in the NBA.
There's a couple of good ones.
No idea.
All right. Yeah. Affirmative action.
That's right. Larry Bird was not the last one.
Good job, guys.
Yeah, I have no idea. Do they win games?
They're about 500 team. They've had some good seasons.
All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I find it ironic that this guy's coming out and he's got an NBA team that doesn't even match anything close to what other NBA teams look like.
Well,
I'm curious what his WNBA team would look like.
Probably a lot like the NBA team.
Probably because they can't identify.
They don't
women.
know the difference. Just saying.
There you go.
All right. 314-912-1019. Donald Trump files a lawsuit going after some media on this. I know it's Friday. We have a lot of fun, but Some people may disagree with me on this one.
Okay.
Let's talk about it right around 6:20 here. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
It is no more. And all at once depart, no destination. Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away. You wanna do that? Get up, get up.
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Attention thrill seekers and fun lovers. Did you know the Midwest's largest wooden roller rink is right here in Missouri? Welcome to Piccadilly Palace, your ultimate family entertainment destination. Glide across our massive skating floor, conquer arcade challenges, put your way through mini golf, and dive into cutting-edge virtual reality experiences. And coming soon, a relaxing bar and grill patio, state-of-the-art golf simulators, and heart-pounding two-story go-kart racing next to East Central College in Union, Missouri. Plan your visit now at piccadillypalace.com. That's piccadillypalace.com.
Ready to soar beyond your limits? The U.S. Air Force and Space Force offer more than just a job. It's a launch pad for your future. With over 200 career paths, competitive pay, benefits, free education, 30 days paid vacation, and a chance to travel the globe, all while serving your country with pride. Your journey starts here. Call Jeremy Jefferson in St. Louis at 314-295-6834 or visit airforce.com and spaceforce.com today.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Are you sitting on hidden treasure? Manchester Coin and Jewelry wants to turn your valuables into cash. We're Missouri's premier gold buyers and jewelry specialists with years of expertise. We offer top dollar for your coins, antiques, precious metals, and collectibles. From gold and silver to clocks and jewelry, we buy it all. Don't let your treasures collect dust. Let Manchester Coin and Jewelry give you the best value. Visit online at buyingvaluables.net or come see him today at 141 in Manchester and tell him News Talk STL sent you.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
Julian Lennon.
Yeah, that's right.
Who didn't really have the type of career I thought he was going to have. Yeah. You know, I thought he would really have a strong career, and he just kind of faded away after a few albums.
You know what sounds really weird is that when you look at like Julian Lennon, like this song right here is a perfect example. This almost to me sounds more like Paul McCartney's Wings project
Ever since you've been leaving me.
than the actual like old Beatles music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can understand Julian's childhood, etc., was different than what the Beatles went through.
Sure, yeah.
But I agree with you. You would think there would be maybe more of a Beatles sound, but he was entitled to have his own
did his own thing
style.
I think as one of those like if this had come out maybe the mid 70s.
Mhm.
Massive hit. And this was a decent
This was
little hit.
a pretty good hit.
It was okay.
Too late
Yeah.
for goodbyes.
Yeah, but no, good. Yeah, there it is. All right, Flashback Friday. We never know what's going to happen on these. Or I never know. Stell knows. He's the
Yes.
only one that knows. All right, so Donald Trump is suing 60 Minutes because of how they edited the Kamala Harris interview. I'm just going to give everybody a heads up right now. The phone number are two things, 314-912-1019. Some of y'all may not like my take on this, so let's have that debate. Let's do that if you disagree. Maybe you'll agree. I don't know. By the way, number one for live local conservative talk 7 days a week, the Right Mind Show with Todd Showalter. That happens Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. And with it being the last show before the election, I have no predictions as to what will happen on that show.
Oh, yeah.
But it will be pretty spectacular.
Epic.
All right, so here are the basics on this. So Donald Trump has filed a $10 billion with a B, $1 billion lawsuit against 60 Minutes and CBS News, because they were caught editing that interview to try to make her look better.
Yes,
is what they did. And he's
deceptively editing, by the way.
right, and so he's suing them. And as some of his campaign rallies and things, he'd said that he wants them to lose their license and everything that goes with that. So the lawsuit then, and this is the story I picked. I mean, there's a bunch of them out there. Was from The Hill, so I'm looking at one that's kind of center left on this. The first couple paragraphs just say former President Trump is suing CBS News over a 60 Minutes interview, a broadcast with Vice President Harris earlier this month that he and his allies have claimed was edited to cast her in a positive light. Well, they've been caught doing that. I mean, I don't know that there's necessarily any controversy that that's what happened.
Right.
And the article goes on to say the lawsuit, which seeks $10 billion in damages and was filed Thursday in U.S. District Court in Northern District of Texas, alleges the network engaged in, and I'm quoting here, partisan and unlawful acts of election and voter interference through malicious, deceptive, and substantial news distortion. End of quote. Okay, so I don't know that I necessarily need to go into the rest of the details. We get the picture as to what the lawsuit's all about.
Sure.
This is, and a couple things can be true at the same time. The media is biased.
Very
know
much
that.
so, yes.
And there was a market reaction to that interview, especially when they were caught with that. I don't know what he's thinking with the lawsuit. He knows he's not getting $10 billion.
Oh, no, yeah, clearly not.
But here's the thing is, let's take this to the logical conclusion. And some courts were to say, no, somebody needs to have a government oversight of how stories and stuff is edited. And we're going to put this under some sort of government purview because they were biased or they were lying or whatever the case is on this. To call it election interference because it was biased coverage. We're biased here.
True.
I edit a lot of stuff that goes on the air. Now, I tried never to take anything out of context because I have a news background. So are we going to get sued at some point by the proponents of Amendment 3 because of how biased we are against it?
Well, I think the problem here, though, with the 60 Minutes segment was that there was more deception than it was bias.
But lying is
they took a segment. Yeah, but
that's part of free speech, though.
But the promo that they put out over the weekend had a different answer than what you saw on that edition of 60 Minutes when it aired on that Monday night. So they took another different portion of an answer and put it in to that same spot that was in the promo.
They suck. I mean, there's no doubt. Nobody's arguing that, and there's no justification.
It's a provable lie, is what you're
It's a
getting
provable
at.
lie.
Yes.
As opposed to bias, I think it was deception and lying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is where this is to me a lawsuit that says, okay, this is the difference between free markets and free speech and the Constitution and big government populism. And these are the things when a lot of Republicans are angry that there are free market people and conservatives and libertarians who are going, whoa, guys, we need to get the movement back to that conservative back on the rail. This is the kind of thing that we're talking about. Now, this lawsuit's going to get tossed, as it should. It's a frivolous and stupid and reckless lawsuit.
Well, it went even further about taking away their license or FCC license.
Yeah, which is
that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen, and it should. And that actually, right there, is the principled thing to do is say you got your butts kicked by the market because you were caught lying. That's the market reaction. But the last thing we want is any government saying, you cross me, I'm taking away your license. You cross me, you're not allowed to speak.
Absolutely.
Because didn't Republicans and conservatives just deal with that sort of censorship and threats from social media and from the FCC and now from the FTC, which we're going to talk about on Monday as well? And so this is just a race to destruction, particularly of the First Amendment, but overall 60 Minutes was basically laughed out of the room once they were caught. I mean, even the left doesn't even go to that interview. They just kind of put their head down and cover their eyes like, yeah, that one was okay. we got this other thing we're mad at him about, so the market spoke and took care of it. But to say, I'm going to use a lawsuit, I want to use government to punish you for lying or punish you for being biased. The precedent of injecting government authoritarianism in there is something that should be called out and pushed back. Just even if it's right before an election, that's what we need to push back for if we're truly based on focusing on freedom and constitutional rights and small government and free markets.
Now, here's the legitimate underlying question being asked by the people who jump on this the popular sort of bandwagon here is, where's the accountability for the people who've been lying and manipulating us for generations? And I think that's a legitimate question.
Sure, it is.
It's absolutely. And I think part of what Donald Trump has tapped into is the sort of deep-seated anger that we all have for having been constantly manipulated, especially, and I've noticed this in particular, especially the people who just kind of woke up one day, they realized, oh my gosh, these guys have been lying to me. I've been fighting for them for the first 2 decades of my life. I finally got, woken up. I figured out what was going on. I understand the game, and now I'm really pissed about it. So what's going to happen? That's the next question. What are we supposed to do about this?
Here's my answer to that is that the market is already, the free market is already doing it. Donald Trump launched Truth Social, millions of users. Elon Musk ends up buying Twitter. That was one of the most censorious platforms out there. It's now the biggest one, and these lies are exposed like that on there. 60 Minutes got exposed because of a free market and free speech. And some of the people, who were bashing 60 Minutes took even other stuff out of context, and they were lying. But the truth is that 60 Minutes was awful. There's no question. They lied. They were biased. Without question, they were playing. But the media's been doing that for decades. So I would argue that the answer to that question is it's already happening and happened. When we focus on the free market, we say fight for the free market. Elon Musk opens up Twitter. All of a sudden, these lies have the spotlight on them everywhere. And the answer to the bad and even dishonest speech is more free speech, not government coming in to say, I'm going to sick government on you and crack down on you because you let them lie about me.
Now, is there a level of responsibility that the government does have against, things that people would consider fraudulent? Because the thing is, when somebody lies to you and they take your money and they don't give you what they said their money was going to be, that's fraud.
Because that's theft.
It's essentially
that's
theft. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's theft.
And I think
if I click on a link that says buy this shirt, it's $20, and I get $20, and they go sucker and run off, that's theft. That's not free speech.
Or if you give them something that doesn't meet the standard of what they sold you. I mean, there's also I've seen those sort of losses. They're hard to prove,
right?
Certainly, but you told me that it was going to do this,
right?
I mean, it did something, but it didn't do this.
Yeah,
So I would like all my money back for all the years I bought the New York Times.
That's right,
and the Washington Post, and the LA Times, and the Chicago Tribune.
I want all the time I wasted on 60 Minutes back.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean,
you're right.
There's certainly a limit to it. I think we're still figuring it out. I think Trump kind of has a throw everything at the wall style that we're not used to in government. It sometimes that works in business. So he's approaching it business wise as opposed to government wise, and I think we're not used to it. So I'm curious to see how it all pans out. I'll say it that way.
Right. Yeah. And my hope is that this lawsuit gets laughed out.
Oh, I mean, it's going to get tossed out.
Every politician, conservative, liberal, Republican, Democrat, everybody says, yeah, we're not crossing that line.
Oh yeah. That's absolutely my hope.
Yeah.
But I also hope it starts a deeper conversation.
Yeah, All right.
And I think the response from the public, by the way, has been strong over the last couple of years, where media is now down to what, 10%,
Yes.
15%?
That's my point, is that the market is responding.
That's the market.
You talk about the holding accountable. I mean, there are shows that they can really hardly hold on to their advertisers at this point. The market is working. All right. So it is coming up on 6:32 here. Information segment coming your way right now. I found a story that I thought was kind of one of those fun, silly ones. And I got to thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a bigger question on it.
Oh, okay.
Be patient.
All right.
We'll get to it in just a moment.
All right.
For podcasts, articles, and more, find us on newstalkstl.com.
Starting to lie. Now it seems you don't care for me. I don't understand why.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
It's much too late for goodbye.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
Taxpayers, it's time to take a stand. Meet Robert Krupp, a Navy veteran and your Republican candidate for State Senate District 1. When it comes to lower taxes, Krupp's not budging an inch. No new tax increases, no nickel and diming working families. Krupp's a man of action standing up to the tax man, unwavering like a red, white, and blue flag flying high in the wind. This November, vote Robert Crump, a strong fighter for lower taxes. Robert Crump.
Paid for by Crump for State Senate 2024. Chris Clark, Treasurer.
Craving something twisted, something deliciously different? Philly Pretzel Factory in Baldwin is your ticket to pretzel heaven. We're not just talking regular pretzels. We're talking out-of-this-world pretzel creations and mind-blowing pretzel pizza. Don't get yourself in a knot searching for the perfect snack. We've got party trays, specialty items, assorted pretzel tins, plus our legendary dips. Philly Pretzel Factory in Baldwin. Online at phillypretzelfactory.com.
America Decides 2024.
Harry J's Steakhouse in Moscow Mills brings you Election Night 2024. You have to get out and vote. Election results, analysis, and opinion from the local conservative voices you know and trust.
Republicans, Democrats,
Independents. Coverage begins next Tuesday night at 7 with St. Louis's true conservative voice. Right here. News Talk STL. Brought to you by DG Firearms in Bowling Green and Senior Memorial Life.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo inviting you to join my band along with Somebody to Love, Tribute to Queen, for an awesome night of music Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Join us as we kick off the season of holiday cheer with my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Support live local music and join us for a great party Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall. Brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Our friends from Dogs for Our Brave talking pets for vets at 520. Dr. Aaron Hedlund, the Show Me Institute, why we should not raise the minimum wage.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
People forget that the Rolling Stones had some great stuff in the 80s.
This one surprised me when the request came in.
Yeah, great request. Rockin' a Hard Place.
Yes, indeed.
Wait a minute. Hold on. This is the Rolling Stones?
Yeah.
This doesn't sound like the Rolling Stones to
Yeah,
me.
they had a good run in the 80s. They had some
Man.
good stuff in the 80s.
This came out in 89.
Yeah.
See, not being a music guy, like I've heard songs and I like songs, but I can't necessarily. I mean, look, I can identify a Michael Jackson song, okay? But sometimes if a group has like their various periods that kind of prolong through the decades, sometimes I can't identify. It's like that sounds like a this song, not a this song.
Yeah.
Like this. This sounds like some 80s band that I haven't heard of.
This Rolling Stones?
But this is a Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
This,
I was in
that's kind of
I was in
amazing.
high school when this came out. Yeah. All right. How patient are we? Is patience a virtue or just a relic of the past?
Oh,
now,
good question.
I'm going to get to where, because I was going to do one of those like silly Friday, fun things, and we were all going to laugh at how impatient we are. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, actually, I think there's a bigger picture here.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially as we're going to be waiting in line to vote for a half hour or an hour or an hour and a half or whatever it is. Yeah. All right. It's 6:37 right now. All right. By the way, State Senator Bill Eigel Unleashed going to be with us at 7:05. We're going to get his take on the campaigns and the insanity of the election season right now. It is 6:38 right now. Okay. So SWNS, they did a story that looks at a survey on like how patient we're going to be with certain things in life before we really get annoyed. Right. So what jumped into my mind when, I don't know why this conversation jumped in my mind, but there was a friend of mine a few years ago. We were just having a conversation and he mentioned he was in a waiting room at, I don't know if it was the doctor or an office or a meeting. I don't know what it was. He said, but he's in this waiting room waiting for his appointment. He said, and I just decided, he said, everybody was looking around and they're on their phone and they can't, they're focused. He said, I just decided as a discipline, personal discipline, that I would just be patient and just wait
instead of being antsy
or have to occupy myself with something. I just decided to just kind of fold my hands and just wait. And it was made him very, very different than everybody else in the room. But to him, he said, I'm just going to try this personal discipline as patience. And I don't know why that kind of jumped out at me. And here's what's funny is there's this, let me go to this article here and you can find it at SWNS. And let's see. Okay. So it basically is looking at how long will we wait before we get irritated and annoyed at stuff, right? Okay. So for instance, how long until you get really irritated that the waiter hasn't come by to get your order?
Oh,
now, and let me clarify, this is not like you're on a time crunch, you're running out to the restaurant for lunch and got to get back to work. I'm talking you're going to a restaurant to sit down and enjoy a social meal with somebody.
You got 5 minutes.
Okay. What do you think, Stone?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know. Because I've never ordered stuff.
You and Kathy don't go out to eat that much?
Oh, I was thinking, I'm sorry. I was thinking you were thinking of ordering stuff from Grubhub or something like that.
Oh, no. I'm getting to that one too. That one's on here too. This is actually at the restaurant.
Sit down restaurant. They seat you how long before, hey, you haven't even brought us our water yet.
Right.
Well, no, that would kind of tick me off after 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But the food, I could wait a half hour.
Oh, that's a separate question too.
Yeah,
okay.
Once you've ordered,
both of you guys are less patient than even the average.
Really?
Because the average before people get irritated is 13 minutes.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
That's
now waiting for your food to arrive.
Okay. Yeah. Wait for your food. Okay. So we've ordered now.
Yes, you've ordered.
We've got our water and our bread.
Right.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully the bread. I don't know I'm trying to figure out what the average is. I never really noticed.
How long till you get annoyed?
I never really noticed because I'm really busy. I'm usually busy talking. I don't know if it's a half hour.
Okay.
I think for me, having grown up in the restaurant business, I would start getting antsy at about 17 and a half minutes.
17 and a half.
Unless I'm ordering a deep dish pizza, and then I know it's going to be 45 minutes. So I'm okay sitting there.
You know what's funny is the answer is 17 minutes.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Really? It's the same amount of time as when you're before you take your order.
So all in when you get seated, we expect our food on our plates within 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And I actually am one of those also. I would get annoyed if I feel like I'm being ignored. And I'm like, hey, get something started here. I'm going to pay you for this.
Right.
For the food itself, I don't really, I'm not that. I mean, if I feel like I've been forgotten,
yes,
that's where, because I got through part of my college years by waiting tables. I learned early on, if something's backed up or you're just having a lousy day, just communicate.
Oh yeah,
with them and you're fine. And that goes into, how about this? Did you know that with Americans, we will switch lines at the grocery store on average if we see 3 people in line at the checkout counter? We see 3.
Really?
We're going to go to a different line in hopes of moving it faster.
Okay.
3 people.
Well, you know what? At the grocery store, we're talking about is like there's a person and a cart full of food.
Yeah, see, that's what I look at.
Yeah.
Is how big is their
How
thing.
big is their stack, right?
So there's 5 people and they have 2 things each.
Right. He's
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm
fine.
going. Yeah.
Because invariably you wind up in the line with the person who's
paying by check.
paying by check.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got to call a manager over to.
We need a price check on this. And
right.
they
20 minutes later,
they
you're
want to
still-
argue their 20-cent coupon on the
That's
savings.
right.
It's like, oh, come on.
And this
That
has 20 items only, and you've got 22 items.
Yeah. Now let me tell you, let me argue that would annoy the crap out of me, and I will argue that is more for that person not respecting my time
Mm-hmm.
than it is me
Yeah.
just taking longer on that, because I don't want my time wasted. But you mentioned the food delivery, like Grubhub and stuff on that. After 29 minutes, people get mad if their food's not there.
Really?
Now, you're talking about somebody who's in a car in wherever waiting to get a text on their phone or alert or whatever it is. Then they go to the restaurant, then go to you.
Yeah.
And, and
Sometimes they have to wait at the restaurant, by the way.
they have to wait at the restaurant. And that's the thing is, like, when I order the food on Grubhub or whatever, it'll tell you about when it is. And every once in a while it tells you, hey, something happened, it's going to be delayed. As long as I know, I'm okay.
Right. Now, for when I order my pizza online, I go to the website and it kind of gives a, hey, 30 to 45 minutes before your pizza arrives. And that's fine.
Okay.
It's whatever.
Yeah, I can have
the
something else.
time is what it is.
Yeah.
And Mike, you mentioned about sitting in the restaurant.
Right.
I have to say, if you know that you're looking around and the restaurant's full or they're slammed.
Yeah.
I would think you would give them a grace period and say, okay, normally I'd be waiting 15, 20 minutes. I understand if it's 40.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've got so many customers and I'm okay with
Now, here's my defect. Here's my deficiency on this. If I see there's a line out the door, or I go in and say, hey, how long is your wait? And they tell me it's 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 40, I'm going somewhere else.
You'd rather.
Even if driving there and getting right in takes longer than just waiting, I will actually go. I am not going to wait outside to get into a restaurant. Now, once I'm seated and you keep my iced tea filled up or whatever, I'm fine.
It's your particular
I'm-
bugaboo,
but
huh?
I will not wait outside to get into your place. If you're that busy, you don't need my money. Good on you. Obviously your stuff's good. I'll come back on a slower day.
And I know you're busy, so just keep the bread coming because I'll eat you out of bread and butter.
There you go.
for
man,
the whole evening.
How about this? How long, if somebody is at a stoplight, how long after it turns green before you lay on the horn?
Oh, you've got 5 seconds.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay.
5.
Yeah, the average
1
is
Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Yeah.
As opposed to, you grew up in New York City, though. New York City, it's usually quicker.
Oh, that's a way of life.
Bam.
They'll honk
2
at you.
seconds.
They'll honk at you for no reason.
Yeah. Well, yes.
And the person who's like 10 cars back will do the honking as though that would make any
Yes.
difference.
And you don't do the polite beep beep. You lean on.
That's right.
That's right.
Get out of the way.
This says the average is 10 seconds. I
No.
don't buy that.
No,
I don't
that's
buy
bull
that.
crap. No.
It seems like everybody's honking within
No.
2 or 3. We do honking way too fast. And of course, I mean, if you're in like a big city, it's like you could get shot, right?
I could see in a small town, 10 seconds.
Road rage is
Yeah.
a thing. Yeah.
Mhm.
But 10 seconds in a small town, yeah. Sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, so the bottom line
Rebecca
is
says 2 seconds.
yeah, which I think Rebecca's closer to what's right.
She's
I mean,
being more truthful
think
than
about
the
it. Okay,
rest of
guys,
us are.
let's go silent for just a second.
Oh no.
For 2 seconds right here. Ready, starting right now.
Green light. Okay, yeah.
That was 2
Beep,
seconds. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going. You're right. You're right. 2 seconds.
So
That's
I mean,
closer to
it's just, I
reality.
thought it was interesting because it was a funny thing, but I'm like, yeah, that maybe we're so conditioning ourselves to not be patient. Now, I think there's a difference. You can be patient and still value your time. Don't waste my time. But you can still be, maybe we could have a little more patience, especially as I'm thinking, because I'm looking forward to voting, but I'm really dreading that line
Yeah.
because I'm going to have the mindset I could be doing all these other things. Just let me in.
Yes.
But be patient.
Yeah. See, patience is a virtue, but we're putting more virtue on the things that we do in the meantime.
Right.
Aren't we?
Right.
You know?
All right. 314-912-1019. Let's get everybody caught up on some up on some news here in just a moment.
Gabe, now that you mentioned it, it's a fruit of the spirit. Patience.
It is.
One of the fruits of the
That's
spirit
right.
in Scripture.
Gosh, I got to work on that.
All right, get out of here.
Hurry up.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Attention, Missouri Republicans. Donald Trump Jr. has endorsed Amendment 2. Don Jr. calls legalizing sports betting a no-brainer for Missouri. Right now, 38 states allow sports betting, including 7 of Missouri's neighboring states. Amendment 2 will give Missouri fans the freedom to bet too. And that means our money will stay at home instead of going to other states. Legalizing sports betting will generate more than $100 million for Missouri schools without raising property taxes. That's why our Republican candidate for governor, Mike Kehoe, is joining Donald Trump Jr. in supporting Amendment 2, generating more money for Missouri schools without raising property taxes, giving Missouri fans the freedom to bet on games. Donald Trump Jr. has it right. Voting yes on Amendment 2 is a no-brainer for Missouri Republicans. Join Don Jr. in saying yes on 2. Paid for by Winning for Missouri Education, Mike Pridmore, Treasurer.
Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, along with daughter Sammy Tobler-Gregory, a team member here at our family-owned Body of Health Direct Primary Care Practice. Sammy, what are patients telling you about their experience at Body of Health?
I can't tell you how many patients I've had come to me and tell me they just so appreciate getting to sit across the table with their doctor and chat about whatever's going on with their healthcare needs for however long they need.
Want to learn more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
Hey, want to amaze your friends when they visit? They will be impressed when they see your custom-made drapes, blinds, or shutters. Michael Proctor will personally help you pick out the correct colors to truly showcase your home. Then he will actually design and personally install everything. No overhead markup. That's going to save you a lot of money on drapes, blinds, or shutters.
Call for an appointment at your home. Spell Proctor like doctor.
Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL.
All your hard-earned tax dollars and mine are going to fund illegal aliens who come across the border penniless, jobless, skillless, and they're given a cell phone, an identity, and a cash stipend every month.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
That beats your Social Security income if you should have the good nature to work your ass off your whole life and retire.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. Brought to you in part by Modern Weapon Systems in Fenton.
With the average funeral bill over $9,000, are your loved ones prepared? Speak with Benjamin Schaefer at Senior Memorial. Contact Benjamin at memorialplans.com. Memorialplans.com. Senior Memorial, everlasting protection.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
Gabe, you made the comment about song intros really tripping your trigger.
Oh, yeah. This one.
This is one of those.
Man, that saxophone.
Well, Glenn Fry here.
Such a catchy tune.
It is. Good stuff.
Yeah, my goodness.
This is what Flashback Friday's all about.
Yeah. Are you feeling the nostalgia yet?
I love this song. Yeah. It's
And you
funny
think
because Glenn Fry's music was very different than what he did with the Eagles.
Yeah.
And it was still just great in a different way.
And you automatically think of Miami Vice.
Yep.
on top
Oh, gosh,
of it.
I do.
Oh, yeah. I see it. I see the intro.
You see the T-shirt under the sport jacket
Yes.
and matching pants, don't you?
I see the Ferrari.
You see the loafers with no socks and the Ferrari.
Definitely the Ferrari.
All right. By the way, there's quite the we've opened the door for the patience argument, especially in driving.
It's so hilarious.
Jay Monty, you're totally right on the four-way stop thing. I'm just saying, true. That's
Somebody
absolutely true.
effing go!
Go. Someday, I pray that we're going to get to a point where people know how to use roundabouts.
Oh gosh.
If everybody knows how to use roundabouts, they're fine.
They can be very efficient. They can be.
Yield and stop mean different things, everybody. Listen, I've driven in Europe. They know how to use roundabouts there.
That's true.
And it's fine. You know, the scariest roundabout I've ever driven in was in Glasgow. And I couldn't believe that there was not a 40-car pileup, but they know what they're doing.
Now, to be fair, their cars are really tiny.
That's true.
And they have really little engines. So even if they hit each other, it's like bumper cars. It's like you just go, and you're just like, okay, you just keep going.
That was my hope because I assumed I was going to hit somebody, but I didn't.
We've got, 400 horsepower, 2,000 pound.
We have that
monsters.
And then we have little electric cars,
That's
smart
true.
cars that you could put in your pocket.
That's true.
Yeah.
The thing is about Glasgow, though, you've also got drivers. You're driving on the opposite side of the car, which makes it even
That's
harder
so weirder.
to
Yes.
grasp.
And not only are you driving on the other side of the road, you're driving on the opposite side of the car.
Exactly. Yes.
And almost everything is stick shift there, so you're shifting with the left hand.
Oh no,
that is so
The
weird.
pedals are in the same spot, but that's the only thing that's in the same spot.
Why do they do such weird things?
I fried my brain when I was there.
America is clearly the car country, so everybody should just take after
Yes.
us when it comes to car stuff.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Yeah. All right. While all eyes are on the race for president, what will the makeup of Congress look like after the elections? And one aspect of early voting is going to be argued in court today. Let's get a quick news update.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
All right, quick reminder, daylight saving time ends on Sunday, so be sure to, you know what, your phones are going to reset. It's not 1987. Let's move on. All right, soundbite from the rallies there. I think I did Donald Trump's first yesterday, so let's do Kamala Harris's first today. She was in Las Vegas saying that, you know what would be really good for America's economy and the cost of living? A Harris administration.
At the top of my list is bringing down the cost of your living. That will be my focus every single day as president. I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries.
I don't like the way somebody's pricing stuff. Government's going to come in and tell you you're making too much with that 1 point something margin on the vegetables you just sold.
I can feel the shortages now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Just economic stupidity.
If you like your toilet paper, you can keep your toilet paper.
Everybody quick, run out and start hoarding toilet paper right now. I mean, it seems like it takes nothing for people to start. People are still probably have mountains of toilet paper from what was the last little scare? Oh, the strike, the docks worker strike.
Yeah.
People have somebody out there has a garage full of toilet paper right now because of that. All right, Donald Trump was actually in Henderson, Nevada, which is like just down the road from Las Vegas on Thursday, and he was hitting Harris again on illegal immigration.
Through our open border, Kamala Harris is also actively aiding and abetting the worst human traffickers, child smugglers, drug dealers, and bloodthirsty criminal networks on the planet. There's nobody worse than what she's catering to.
All right, those are, again, this is what he needs to be hitting in these rallies. That's the smart way to go. All right, a hearing in St. Charles County Court today should clear up some of the confusion over poll watchers and challengers during early voting. Now, early voting is continuing in St. Charles County, and that's even after an injunction was issued related to a lawsuit filed by a Republican committeeman. The lawsuit argues that watchers and challengers should be allowed to observe early voting. Elections Director Kurt Barr says state law only references election day in the statute. So both may be right. So we'll see what the court says. Let's see here. For the first time this season, the Blues are under 500. That's after last night's 2-1 loss to the Flyers in Philadelphia. Blues are now 5-6-0. Head back home for a Saturday evening game with the Maple Leafs.
How about that? Toronto's in town.
Oh, yeah.
Gabe and Janet. Huh?
Yeah, we're out of town.
Oh,
dang it.
In 1776, American patriots took up arms and broke free from a government that imposed its will backed by a strict religious doctrine. These brave Americans dared to stand up and declare that all men are created equal and have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But today, Missouri's Republicans are stripping away our freedoms and liberties. They're banning books. They're criminalizing protest. They're centralizing power. They're making it harder to vote. And they're misleading us with deceptive ballot language. Worse yet, they push their strict religious doctrine onto all of us, threatening to relegate women to second-class citizens. We fought for freedom and liberty once before, and now we must fight again. We have a choice, Missouri. Stand up, vote, and remind our government that its sacred duty is to protect our freedoms and liberties, not surrender them. I'm Dan Schaefer, and I'm running for the Missouri House of Representatives, District 97.
Paid for by Dan Schaefer for Missouri.
History, wine, spirits, food, and music, plus an awesome name. That's the Old House in Hog Hollow. This beautiful historic home's been turned into a wine bar and event venue that can host any and all of your gatherings. Take a tour while enjoying a glass of wine and see all the original features that are still around from the 1850s. Open Thursday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and brunch, with live music on select dates paired with wine tasting. Find them at 14319 Olive Boulevard in Chesterfield or online at oldhouseinhoghollow.com.
Report cards are a good way to show how well your kids are doing in class and where they might need improvement. We at the Show Me Institute believe schools should get grades too, so parents can see how their child's school compares to others. That's why we came up with the Missouri School Rankings Project. Click on the website moschoolrankings.org and it's all there. Rankings and letter grades for all the schools in Missouri. The rankings are based on categories such as student performance in English language arts and math, ACT scores, and graduation rates. Then we take the rankings and come up with a grade point average, just like your child has. Each school and district has a grade, and the website is easy to use. And now we've added spending data for every district, so parents, taxpayers, and policymakers can see where the money is going. Don't you want to know how your child's school stacks up? Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Vice President Harris and former President Trump will hold dueling rallies within 7 miles of each other tonight in a fevered final drive for votes in swing state Wisconsin's largest city, Milwaukee. In Pennsylvania, one of several states that flipped the 2020 presidential election, White House correspondent Greg Clugston touring the Blue Wall states this morning. We find him just outside of Pittsburgh.
In 2016, Donald Trump narrowly won the state before losing to Joe Biden 4 years ago by about 1 percentage point. The latest polling averages give a slight edge to Trump, but he's in a statistical tie with Kamala Harris. Allegheny County here in western PA is solidly Democratic, but all of the surrounding counties are Republican. Both campaigns have been furiously courting voters in hopes of winning the biggest battleground prize next week. On the Blue Wall States tour, Greg Clugston, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania.
A 17-year-old is under arrest in an early morning shooting in downtown Orlando, Florida. 2 people were killed, 6 others injured. Boeing sweetens its contract offer to strikers, hoping to woo them back to work.
The International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers says that its members will vote Monday on the latest proposal from Boeing. The union says Boeing is now offering general wage increases of 38% over 4 years, up from 35% in an offer that was rejected last week.
Correspondent Lisa Dwyer. If you hold ExxonMobil stock, good for you. The oil giant reports third quarter profits surged, and ExxonMobil's board approving a 4% dividend boost. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures pointing to a higher open later on. The Dow futures up 168 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 88 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you just grin and bear it or bite the bullet when it comes to everyday pain, don't. Try Relief Factor, a drug-free daily supplement that helps your body fight pain naturally. Relief Factor doesn't just mask pain, it helps reduce or even eliminate it. It's 100% drug-free. It's developed by doctors. In 3 weeks or less, you'll know whether it works for you like it works for me. Try Relief Factor for yourself. Go to relieffactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF and save on your first order. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF.
Hey, it's Matt Walsh, podcaster, best-selling children's author, and world-renowned DEI consultant. My hit comedy and #1 grossing documentary of the decade, Am I Racist?, is now streaming exclusively on Daily Wire Plus. I went undercover into the world of DEI and got the elites of the establishment to say all the quiet parts out loud. The only way to watch Am I Racist is with a Daily Wire Plus membership. Head to dailywire.com/subscribe. Use code DEI for 35% off your new annual membership. Don't miss it. Am I Racist? Streaming now exclusively on Daily Wire Plus.
Israel.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Looking for top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
It's Friday!
Jay Monty's so excited about the Kofifi dance.
I know. I think it's been a couple years since he sent us a video of one of his.
Oh,
I
yeah,
want
that's right.
people to send in the videos of their Kofifi dances.
I want to see their Kofifi dances.
All right. Is the country trending red? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. Or should Republicans be on guard for another disappointment like 2022?
Oh, gosh.
Just kind of that reality check.
I
want to, because we're talking about a big sweep, in Washington. Maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. White House, House, Senate. I don't know. I'm just saying everybody was banking on that a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you don't think that you can start the party right now. Just be braced for that.
There's a banned phrase around here.
That's right.
You don't talk about surfs up.
But it does feel different to me, though.
It does. I will say that.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and our discussion with Mike Kehoe made some waves around the state the other day.
Yeah,
that really did. I got a lot of feedback on that. Apparently, that ended up in some news around the state as well. So we're going to get Senator Bill Eigel's take on that here in just a moment. By the way, now and definitely by 7:20 is a really good time to check out our video stream, whether it's Rumble or Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. I'm just going to leave it at that, but you definitely want to do that. And if you're not in a position to watch the video stream, you should at the very least in the next, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, check the social media feeds for the picture or pictures that are going to be posted.
Yeah, I think
gonna say,
you got to get ginned up for this.
Yeah, just going to tell you there. All right, joined now by State Senator Bill Eigel as well. Man, Bill, it's good chat with you. It's been a couple weeks since we've chatted with you here. Let me start with, since, obviously you'd run for governor, came in second place in the primary, overperformed, but so many people thought, which means there was something you were saying that was registering with people. And we had that conversation with Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe, soon to be Governor Mike Kehoe, the other day. I got a lot of response on that, like immediately, as in we went off the air and within half an hour, I'm getting text and emails and even a couple calls on this because give me your take on what the lieutenant governor said as far as the policy goals that he stated and agreed with and disagreed with in that conversation, because I know you were listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thanks for having me, Mike. It's always a pleasure to be here. And, I thought there were a couple points in that conversation with Lieutenant Governor Kehoe that he actually did better than I am used to hearing from him, and particularly on the issue of Amendment 3. In fact, I would go so far as to say this was probably his best interview as far as talking about pushing back on Amendment 3, as far as why we need to oppose Amendment 3, and really calling on folks to join him in opposing what right now is Missouri's worst constitutional petition that we're gonna vote on this coming Tuesday. That was his best one. I think a lot of folks have been waiting for him to really take on that role, and I was really pleased to see him embrace that, not try to run away from it because he's worried about Democratic pro-choice turnout. I thought he did a really good job embracing the fact that we all need to show up and reject one of the worst constitutional amendments the state has ever faced. So I give him props for that. I was really pleased. On some of the other stuff, you asked him about the Taxpayer Bill of Rights. Mm-hmm. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think he knew what that was. Because you asked him about Tabor and he started talking about tax cuts, which is good. Tabor is not a tax cut. Tabor is a limitation on spending that would be a constitutional restriction to stop the out-of-control spending down in Jefferson City, which we desperately need. And he was even pretty vague, I thought, on some of the specifics of what he would do to really get around all the spending that's presenting tax cuts in the first place. So I think we're still going to have some conversations once he gets into office, and he is going to win next Tuesday. Mm-hmm. I'm voting for him. Everybody's voting for him that wants to see or doesn't want to see a Crystal Quade get into office and wield that kind of power on behalf of Missourians. But, I think there's some questions as to what kind of fiscal leadership we're going to see out of Jefferson City. And we won't know that until January, to where we get the governor's first budget. So looking forward to that, but we'll see. So I was a little concerned about the fiscal policy, but on social policy, I thought he did pretty well. And the most immediate threat we have in front of us on Tuesday, as from a state level Missouri perspective, is defeating Amendment 3 at the ballot box.
Absolutely. Good morning, Bill. Gabe here. With initiative petition reform on the block again, and then of course you mentioned all of the financial the tax cuts and all the Tabor and all these things. Is the Freedom Caucus in a better or worse shape to exert influence in 2025?
I think they're in a better shape from the perspective that the more that time goes on, the less pleased people are with the status quo. The Freedom Caucus represents a break from the status quo. The Freedom Caucus represents reform of all the broken government that we have down in Jefferson City. And the reason the Freedom Caucus has become more and more relevant and it has more and more influence is because the people of this state agree with the Freedom Caucus that government is too big, that we need protection of our rights. You mentioned me overperforming in the gubernatorial race. Well, the reason that I think it took a lot of people surprise is I was talking about those ideas of how we're going to reform all that broken government, how we're going to reduce spending, how we're going to protect our rights, whether it's protecting our land from being bought out from China, whether it's protecting our state from the invasion of illegal immigration. As you guys know, Donald Trump just made another big statement that he is going to start one of the largest mass deportations of illegal immigrants at any point in our country's history when he takes over the reins. And I think that is a message that a lot of folks are interested in because they know the damage that's being done to our communities by folks coming to this country illegally. So, the Freedom Caucus represents a willingness to take on an establishment that, quite frankly, has been very hesitant to tackle these issues. And Folks are looking for those fighters down there. So I don't expect that attitude to lessen anywhat amongst the people of this state, which means the Freedom Caucus is in a good shape. The one last comment I would make, though, is I think the real question is here, why isn't every Republican part of the Freedom Caucus? I mean, there isn't a single policy issue that the Freedom Caucus has taken that is opposed to the GOP platform, that is opposed to conservative principles. So, from my perspective, every single member of the state legislature, from the governor on down, ought to be a member of the Freedom Caucus because we ought to be all fighting for the same idea.
We're tripping over the conservative principles part of what you just said there. I think that's why a lot of Republicans aren't in it. Because I think they're starting to get away. So here, but that leads to my next question is, have the Republicans in the state legislature, and then I do want to ask about some of the stuff in Washington, D.C., have they learned their lesson? I mean, there are some seats at risk that I think a lot of Republicans thought they shouldn't be at risk. And I'm thinking, you know what? The Republicans are going to keep a majority, but they haven't delivered some of the big promises year after year after year. So they shouldn't be surprised if there are some conservatives willing to kick them in the shins a little bit. So, I mean, have they learned their lesson? I mean, well, you talked about what's happening with Amendment 3. Well, that's directly because Republicans failed on initiative petition reform. So, a lot of Republicans maybe get their hands slapped by people on the right.
Well, we know that not all the Republicans in Jefferson City have learned their lesson. I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we had the incoming Speaker of the House, John Patterson, come out and say that if Amendment 3 passes, he wasn't going to do anything to try to push back on that as he became the Speaker of the House. I mean, I don't know what bigger betrayal of our pro-life credentials as a party we could have than have the Speaker of the House from our party announce that if we become the most pro-choice state in the union as a result of Amendment 3 possibly passing, he's not going to do anything about it. So clearly there are still some folks that don't really understand what it means to be a Republican, which is why we are having this struggle within the Republican Party. And you mentioned just something else there, Mike. The big headline on Tuesday in Missouri is that we're going to sweep all the statewide elections. We're going to retain our supermajority. But the underlying concern is that there are seats that are in danger right now that shouldn't be in danger right now. I'll give you a couple examples. David Gregory over in St. Louis County. This is a seat that had been filled, that is filled right now by, quite frankly, one of the most conservative guys that we have in Missouri Republican politics, and Andrew Koenig right now, who won that seat 4 years ago by double digits. And now David Gregory, just in 4 years later, is in danger of losing that seat. It's one of the most competitive races that we see anywhere in the state. So that is an indication that there are still a lot of Republicans out there that agree with our principles, that agree with our ideas, but are not sold on the idea that our elected officials are really going to show up and fight for them. So if we don't want to see this deterioration of our Republican frontiers continue, then we've got to start doing those big Republican things, which, as you said, we didn't do it last session. There's going to be big time expectations on from Mike Kehoe to every member of that legislature going into January to pass big Republican ideas. And if they don't do it, if there's another year of failure, I think that the pushback from that is going to be pretty immense and will dwarf anything that we've seen so far this year.
Good morning, Bill. Stal Ponticus here. Since you mentioned the statewide issues, do you have any thoughts about the national issue of controlling Congress on the House and Senate side and how important that really is?
Well, it's critically important. I mean, if you look no further than the total lack of ideas coming out of the Democratic Party, other than disliking Donald Trump, they're really nothing, and they want to kill unborn kids. I don't know that there's anything, or maybe defunding the police. I don't know that there's anything really in the national Democratic platform that folks are going to show up on Tuesday and vote for if they're looking at it from a Democratic perspective. And if they're successful getting into power on such a message of divisiveness and resentment, then that does not bode well for the country. I happen to believe that's not what's going to happen. I think we show up on Tuesday, and if it's a straight up election with no cheating, Donald Trump doesn't just win. He wins by a mile. I mean, he's going to be closer to the Reagan victory of '84 than he will be to anything that happened in 2016 or 2020. So my concern, of course, when you look at the national layout of the presidency, you have states like Pennsylvania or Arizona that are already starting to signal that, especially in Arizona, that it's going to be a while before they're able to tabulate their results, and that's what opens the door for cheating. And so we're going to have to pay attention to that, keep an eye on that, and we all need to show up on Tuesday and do everything, including voting for Donald Trump, that we can to prevent a Democratic takeover. I'm confident that the U.S. Senate's going to go into Republican hands. There's just too many places that the Democrats are trying to defend that it just doesn't look like they're going to be able to do. The House is pretty close as well, but on the strength of Donald Trump, I think the chances of a sweep are very good. Now, that being said, we've seen a sweep for Republicans before. Yep. We've seen the Republicans hold all three branches or all three places of power up there in Washington, D.C., and in many of those cases, we didn't get a whole lot done. So I think there's also room for accountability, just like we're talking about at the state level, holding our national leaders accountable. We're hearing everything we want to hear in campaign season, but we've granted a significant amount of power to Republicans before and been disappointed. I'm very confident that Donald Trump's going to be the guy that can break that mold. But even after Election Day, we've all got to stay engaged and keep the Republicans and the elected officials all over the country accountable.
All right, Bill Eigel, we've already tagged you on the social media. Social media, best place to kind of keep up with you these days. Your website still
Bill
obviously,
Eigel.
yeah.
Yep, BillEigel.com, @BillEigel. Admittedly, I've been a little quiet over the past couple months, taking a little bit of a break and a rest personally, but we're going to get back at it, and I expect to be very engaged in the conversation about Missouri Republican politics in the very near future, so more to come.
And there'll be plenty of those right here on this show, Bill. We'll talk to you again soon, man.
Thanks, Bill.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Happy Friday.
All right, you too. 314-912-1019. Go ahead and if you're watching at home or you're on your phone, you're not driving somewhere, click on that video stream.
Yes. Turn that on. Put it on your TV.
Yeah, put it on your TV. That's right. Yeah, bring up YouTube or Rumble or whatever on your TV. So we're going to have some fun here. Very special guest. Very executive special guest.
Mm-hmm.
Very, dare I say, presidential special guest.
Indeed.
Going to be here with us. So be sure to check that out. And if you can't, just check in on the social media, Rumble or Twitter, Facebook, things like that. At least check in on it here. And I don't know, what do you think? 5-6 minutes, something like that. Let's do that. Here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin.
The Allman Report.
Hey, Friday on News Talk STL, the Allman Report. It's a fancy Friday. Doug Giles joining us, the Allman Report, News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman, weeknights at 8 on News Talk STL.
You know, when you're car shopping, it should be fun, not a chore. That's why when you visit Ackerman Toyota on Hampton, just south of 44, you'll enjoy the largest customer lounge to make you feel at home. You can always check AckermanToyota.com, but come enjoy the Ackerman hospitality. We'll be waiting to help you get what you want, and while you're relaxing. Ackerman Toyota, #1 in 2023. Ackerman Toyota, for life.
Tony Colombo here for Zero Res, the cleaning pros we trust with our home, and the team bringing you a great offer for the month of October. Book a cleaning this month and mention the Colombo special, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129. Plus, you can take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Don't let the germs hiding in your home haunt your family. Call Zero Res now and take advantage of this scary good deal. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or when you book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
Need reliable auto service from people you can trust? Look no further than Western Tire and Auto. For over 15 years, we've been your complete automotive repair center, family owned and operated, with owner Dean Kleethermes bringing 30 years of industry experience. At Western Tire and Auto, you're not just a customer, you're family. We promise 100% satisfaction, treating you with the transparency, respect, and honesty you deserve. Visit us in St. Peters or in Florissant. For appointments, call or check WesternTireAuto.com. Western Tire and Auto, your local automotive experts since 2008.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Chris Arps here, and after Becky and I leave church on Sunday, we head down the street to Capriotti's to grab a classic meatball sub. And of course, for dessert, I get a giant chocolate chip cookie. I love Capriotti's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the News Talk STL app.
Just a convenience on the phone.
And listen anytime, anywhere. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
I actually have this cassette. Glass Tiger, right?
It is Glass Tiger.
Glass Tiger.
And Gabe, they are from
they're from Canada?
They are from Ontario.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Janet would have told me.
Yes. That's right.
Like the minute it came on, she's like, you know what? These guys are from Canada.
They were huge in Canada.
Yes. Also, Jim Carrey.
You can have him back.
Yeah, at this point, yes.
Yeah, they can have him back.
Yeah.
Saying there. All right, we've got a very special guest coming in studio here in just a couple of minutes.
Yeah, on his way.
The caravan has run into some traffic, as we understand.
Yeah,
so
the motorcade
security,
had some...
motorcade, the security. Okay, we'll get that here in just a second. Of course, Flashback Friday. Thanks for this picks. I actually love this song. I know they were a one-hit wonder, but I actually had the cassette. There were those one-hit wonders where I went and bought the full album. This was one, and then there was a band called let's see here, Sly Fox. They had one huge hit called "Let's Go All the Way." But I bought the whole album. Same thing with West Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
The cassette.
I did. I had the cassette, and it went right into the dash of my 19. What was it? Actually, my first car was a 1972 Ford Maverick. Didn't even have a cassette. It just had AM radio.
You know, there are some people who heard you start with 19.
Yeah, I know.
And it hit them just the same way it would hit us if we were talking about something in the 1800s.
It was a 1972 Ford Maverick.
Man,
bench seats.
So last millennium.
That's right. It was AM radio, so I had a little boom box from Kmart if I wanted to listen to something else.
You got the crank windows?
It did have the crank windows. Yeah. Rack and pinion steering.
Some of these kids will never know the joys of the crank window.
Yeah, rack and pinion steering as well. So not like the auto. I mean, you were turning that car. And you turned the brights on, turned the high beams on, which we used to call the brights, with this little knob on the floor you had to hit with your foot.
On the left side.
On the left side. That's
Yeah.
right. Yep.
Did you call it a Madrick back then?
We did not.
Okay.
No.
Kathy kidded me. All the years we've been married, she had all these nicknames for various cars in the Ford line because of her family's dealership, and Mavericks to her were always Madricks. I have no idea why. If that was a Hannibal thing, I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I don't know. And then I had a what was it? It was after that. It was a.
Do you have a Fiesta?
No, I didn't.
Because we did, and believe it or not, we drove it to Boston and Buffalo, and.
I had a Renault Fuego.
Oh my!
Fuego!
I had a Renault Fuego.
Nice.
Which looked really cool, but was maybe the biggest piece of crap car I have ever had in my life.
Yes.
I think I lasted 6-7 months. And when it was breaking apart, my dad took it into a shop. He said, well, here's what's going on. He said the mechanic, this is
laughed.
No, it didn't even do that. He said the mechanic looked at it, looked down, spit, and then walked away. And so that's when we knew that we had to
Fuego.
I speed upon this. You're right. Oh my goodness. So yeah, that was my first cassette. The one I had a cassette was because we're stalling here because our guest is coming in here any second now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the one I had in college, which was let's see here. What was it? It was there he is.
I got him.
Yep, you got him. He walked away. Where's
he going?
Where is he going? Oh my goodness. No, it was a let's see here. It was a Z something, not a Z28. It was a forerunner to that.
Z as in Datsun?
No. It was
different Z.
Yeah, different Z.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it was kind of a sport-ish car. All right. Special guest coming in, which we're going to talk more in full depth about it at 7:35 here. I think we need to set this up properly. Do we have the walk-up music for this, Stell? No. And here he is. Mr. President, how are you? It is so good to see you in the studio here. I know that neither of the states in our listening area are swing states, but it's great that you came out here to this area anyway.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
I know. Well,
presidential caravan, Mike. It got a little delayed, but we're here on this beautiful Friday morning, a wonderful, tremendous Friday morning. We have the wonderful Gabe. Look at Gabe over here. You're looking wonderful as always, Gabe.
Mr. President, great to see you.
The wonderful Stell. Look at Stell over here. Great patriot, great man. So we're having a little fun this morning, huh, fellas?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think?
Now, the presidential business wasn't you just run into the bathroom right before you came in here, right? That was a different kind of business.
Well, you know, Mike, a lot of people, they've never seen anything like Trump, right? I could drink 10 gallons of water. I don't have to use any bathroom breaks. You've seen me. I go for hours on end. I go to Nevada. I go to Arizona. I go to Pennsylvania. I don't take bathroom breaks. I don't pee. That's okay. I'm kind of built different, I guess you could say. Quite frankly, I don't think Biden could do that. Biden gets up 4 or 5 times a night to use the restroom. That's what Jill tells me, right? Dr. Jill. That's what they call her, Dr. Jill. I don't really even think she's a doctor, quite frankly. She's not like Melania, right, fellas?
Right.
She's not
Yeah,
like Melania.
very different.
The most beautiful first lady we've ever seen. And I was actually getting ready for a rally. This was in Michigan the other day. And Melania looks at me and she says, "Darling, I think you're the most handsome president since JFK." Can you believe that, Gabe? Can you believe that?
I can believe that, sir.
Wonderful woman. But we got a big election next week, fellas. We got a big election, early turnout. People are excited to vote for Trump, and I think we're going to have a big victory next Tuesday. What do you think?
I think we need to go over all the issues. We've got a commentary right now from Larry Connors here in a second. He's kind of
I love Larry. Larry's a wonderful man, great patriot.
And he thinks that the Harris campaign may be fumbling so bad that they are just handing you this election.
I would agree, Mike. I think she's floundering. It's hard to watch, quite frankly. I think she's a total embarrassment. She's a train wreck. She wasn't even put there legally. You know, she was inserted at the 11th hour once they saw that I decimated Sleepy Joe at the debate, right? Gabe saw it.
I saw that.
Gabe saw the debate. Gabe saw it. So I destroyed Sleepy Joe, and now Kamala. We have our Kamala. I don't even know how to pronounce her name, quite frankly. Kamala. But she's very low energy, very weak, and I think we're going to have a big landslide Tuesday, right?
Do you have any questions for President Donald Trump?
Yes, everybody.
And if he were really younger, it's amazing. He would look a lot like a Danny Define
I think I see a lot of similarities there. Yeah.
In the studio with us, 314-912-1019. This is your chance to have a conversation and ask a question of everybody using air quotes, Donald Trump in the studio right now. Go to the video stream right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I just sent you the pictures.
You got to watch it.
We'll put them up on social
I love
media.
St. Louis. This is a great city. Missouri's a great state. It voted for Trump quite heavily back in 2020, 2016.
All in.
So I love the people of Missouri, Mike. I love the people. I can't wait to hear from them.
All right.
So Mr. President, what do you make of Mark Cuban's comments recently? Because he said that you have a problem with strong, intelligent women, that you don't surround yourself with them because I guess you're intimidated. That's his contention. What do you have to say in response to Mark Cuban?
Well, Gabe, I love strong women. You know, I was Mr. Universe. I used to run the beauty pageant contest, so I love strong women. I've been married to 3 strong women. They're tremendous.
Yes.
Melania might be my favorite. I'm a little biased. Melania might be my favorite. But Mark Cuban, he's totally off his rocker. I think he wanted to be in the administration back in 2018. You know, Mark called me. He basically begged, Gabe. He basically begged. I said, I could have told him to drop down to his knees. He would have begged for that position. He wanted to be in the cabinet so bad.
But he knows the commissioner of basketball is not something you appoint, though, right?
Exactly, Mike. Okay. It's ridiculous. You know, Mark Cuban's a very low energy guy, very low energy. And you see him now, he looks like Rachel Maddow. I don't know what happened to Mark, but he looks like Rachel Maddow. So I think he has TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, right? We've all heard about Trump derangement syndrome. So I think Mark has lost his fastball. And quite frankly, I don't know if he had one in the first place.
There you go. All right. You have a question for Mr. President Donald Trump. In air quotes. Give us a call, 314-912-1019. You need to be looking at the video stream and our social media here in just a second as well.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
You take my breath away. Oh, love thinks it's here to stay. Oh, there's still so much for me to do, and I can't stop loving you. Oh, can this be true? If you could see what I see.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your first alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shea.
Hi, Chris Arps here. Join me and the team at Royal Banks of Missouri for their annual Economic Forecast Breakfast. The event takes place on Tuesday, November 19th at the factory in the district in the Chesterfield Valley. You'll hear from their experts and get a better understanding of what to expect from the U.S. economy in 2025 and beyond. Doors open at 7:30 a.m. and the program starts at 8 a.m. Attendance is free, but you do need to reserve a spot. You can RSVP by sending an email to emails@royalbanksnet.com or by calling 314-212-1545.
Larry Connor's commentary, brought to you by Vincent Jewelers. Vincent's has raised almost $2 million for local charities. Give Vincent's a chance to earn your business. Check for daily specials at vincentjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's commentary on News Talk STL.
Everything the left uses to clobber Trump gets thrown back. He gets stronger, and he has fun mocking the leftists. Biden calling his supporters garbage. Despite what the White House claims, that's what Biden did. So Trump shows up in a garbage truck wearing a bright orange safety vest, adding, "I might ditch my coat. Some folks say this makes me look thinner." He is finding comedy and having fun, where his opponents are running around shouting, "The sky is falling." Kamala is now trying to put more and more distance from Biden. She fears this rhetoric, along with the past leftist comments about Trump supporters, could harm her. But when she was not running for president, she had no trouble with Hillary calling Trump supporters deplorable and other names. Pollster Frank Luntz thinks that Harris is wise to run from Biden, but she might not be able to run fast enough. He says Hillary's basket of deplorables was significant, meaningful in 2016. This garbage comment is going to be huge, and Trump is already using it to his advantage. He adds, this is so huge, this could be a turning point for that final 3%, so Trump wins. If Frank Luntz is right, Harris will be putting Biden in the garbage can.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want you to know that McGuire Moving and Storage is silver certified, which means McGuire has a quality reputation helping older adults move local or long distance. And something else to know, Josh McGuire, president of McGuire Moving and Storage, is the only certified moving consultant in Missouri. I'll tell you, once you met Josh, you're going to know your move will be easy. And I fully endorse McGuire Moving and Storage. McGuireMoving.com.
SR1 Sundays.
Hey, this is Aaron Dorff from the Missouri Firearms Coalition. Don't miss our new show, Shall Not Be Infringed, this coming and every Sunday as part of SR1 Sundays. Tune in for Stand and Fight with Nick Schroer at 6, Next Gen with Dana Define at 8, and my show, Shall Not Be Infringed, at 9. See you then.
SR1 Sundays.
Sunday night at 6 on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
My sponsor, Wellington Environmental, has helped thousands deal with hazardous materials. Hospitals, offices, schools, even homes. Here's something new. Wellington now offers dustless blasting. This is just like sandblasting, but without all the dust and emissions. Wellington uses everything from ground glass, walnuts, corn, even dry ice pellets. One university had Wellington remove their parking lot striping, because dustless blasting is fast and it does not damage the concrete. So as a business or homeowner, I'm sure you could use this process. Industrial tanks, swimming pools, graffiti on buildings. And in fact, Wellington is blasting a Texaco station that will be revised as an historic building. Check the website for details and photos. WellingtonSTL.com. WellingtonSTL.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
See the man in the busy street, he's almost incomplete. He takes his pleasure in strange ways.
You may know this guy, Mike.
Deep cut.
It is.
For the 80s.
I was surprised when we got this one. Graham Bonnet?
Yeah.
From Rainbow, correct?
That's right. Yeah, he was one of the singers of Rainbow, which like Rodney James Dio was one of the singers, and Graham Bonnet was one of the singers. I think who was the other one? There were a couple others. Yeah, this is a deep cut, man. This is a good choice. All right, if you haven't checked us out on the video streams right now, now's the time to do it. So check YouTube or Rumble or Facebook or Twitter. We're now joined, and we're using air quotes here, in studio with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate you being. No, Mr. President, I argue that the 80s was the greatest generation of the greatest era of music, rock and pop music ever. How would Donald Trump describe the 80s on this Flashback Friday?
Well, Mike, I love the 80s. It was a great decade. I actually wrote my first book, The Art of the Deal, in 1986. And quite frankly, it was the best-selling book ever, even more than the Bible. Sold more. Don't quote me on that, but I believe it was the best-selling book ever. So Art of the Deal came out in the 80s. I love the 80s.
More accurate?
More accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the great music, except a lot of these musician Mike like Madonna and Bruce Springsteen, they, like Mark Cuban, have TDS. It's terrible to see. It's horrible to see what happened to Bruce. They used to call him the boss. I don't think he could even be a janitor, though, quite frankly. I think he needs to change his name. So Bruce Springsteen has TDS. Madonna, she threatened to blow up the White House. We all know what happened with Madonna. But the 80s, it was a great decade. A lot of good energy, high energy. We had the great Ronald Reagan was in office. Don't we love Ronald?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ronald was a great patriot, great man. But I can tell you this, Mike. This is what I could tell you. We are going to have a renaissance when Trump's elected in 3 days, right? When Trump's elected, we're going to have a renaissance bigger and better than ever. So it's going to make the 80s look like a walk in the park.
That sounds awesome.
Mr. President, if you don't mind my asking, I kind of thought maybe you were going to have your sanitation vest on.
How about that, right, Steph? So Joe Biden calls half the country garbage. And here's a guy that's completely destroyed the economy. He's been horrendous on the southern border. And then he wants to call more than half, quite frankly. He wants to call this beautiful country and all these great patriots garbage. I don't think that's a good move. And Stel, what I really believe, I think Joe is a little bit upset that he got pushed out. He might be sabotaging the Harris campaign. Who knows? You think Biden's going to support Trump? What do you think, Gabe? You think Biden's going to support Trump?
I think he already voted for you, sir.
I think he did too. I don't know if you saw him the other day. He had the Trump hat on. He was eating the ice cream cone.
Do you think he knows that he's been pushed out yet? Have they told him yet?
Mike, he knows. Believe me, he knows. Now, Joe Biden's a very incompetent guy, very low energy, but even Joe Biden knows that he was replaced by Lion Kamala. And that's Lyin apostrophe. That's how he's spelled. Lyin apostrophe, Lion Kamala. You know, I have some great nicknames, Mike. I have some great nicknames, but Lion Kamala might be one of the best. And boy, does she lie. She lies like a rug, Mike. She lies like a rug.
Okay, we've got a question on Rumble for you.
But I love the 80s to answer your question.
Okay.
It's a great decade.
All right, Jay Monty. He is watching in Georgia right now, swing state in Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
It's a big state.
So he says, how is it going to feel to watch Kamala confirm her own loss? That's his question for you. How's that going to feel deep down in your Trumpian insides?
How's it going to feel for me or Kamala?
For you.
Well, it's going to be a tremendous victory. I love the state of Georgia, the Peach State, right? The Peach State. Great state. They have some issues with water pipes, apparently. I think I heard that story in 2020. A lot of stories coming out of Georgia with Governor Kemp. Remember Governor Kemp? But it's a great state. I think we're going to win it big, and it's going to be a tremendous victory. It's going to make 2016 look like child's play. Okay. Everybody thought that Trump couldn't win in 2016 and we won by a landslide. Hillary called me that night and she said, "You're now the president. Congratulations." Even though she came out later with the Russia. But it's going to make 2016 look like JV league, right? To use a term from Barack Hussein Obama. It's going to look JV. But we're going to have such a tremendous victory on November 5th, and Georgia's a critical state. And I think they love Trump. They love Trump, and we're going to win Georgia big. It's going to be tremendous.
Yeah, we've got a viewer on Rumble who wanted to know if you were going to bring in some fries for us. I guess you didn't bring any fries in from.
Well, still, I can only do so much, all right? So you want me to be a garbage man? You want me to work at McDonald's? I'm campaigning in like 15 different states. Let's just be happy that I'm here, okay? Let's just be happy that I made a visit. This isn't even a swing state, but I wanted to come here. I told the pilot, I still have access to Trump Force One, they call it, which quite frankly is much more beautiful than Air Force One. I actually did a redesign on Air Force One to make it more like Trump Force One. But I told the pilot we were going from Nevada to Arizona. I told the pilot we got to reroute, sir. I said, get back behind those controls and let's go east. We're going to go east to St. Louis, Missouri, the show me state, right? Yeah. The show me state. So I'm sorry I didn't bring fries.
That's
but
all right.
Quite frankly, I don't think Joe Biden could bring fries. They said Kamala worked at McDonald's. I don't think she worked at McDonald's. I think she's lying again. Like I said, Gabe knows it better than anybody, right? Gabe knows it better than anybody. By the way, Gabe, I heard you're a rocket scientist.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir.
A smart cookie. Isn't he? A smart cookie. So I didn't bring fries. I didn't wear the garbage vest, but let's just be happy that I'm here. Okay. Next question. Don't ask stupid questions.
I think the one thing you are very good at is giving nicknames to people
absolutely,
here.
absolutely.
I covet, and this is probably asking too much just from a lowly radio host. A Donald Trump nickname.
Oh wow. The Donald Trump nickname for Mike Ferguson in the
all of us, I think.
Or really, okay. Well,
Yeah.
Well,
that's a lot.
I already used Mini Mike Bloomberg. Remember Mini
that's
Mike
true, yeah.
Bloomberg?
Yeah.
He dropped out. He was sinking like a rock back in, was it 2020? He was sinking like a rock. He was polling horribly. And Mini Mike, he's got a very low club head swing, short guy. So let's see. I'm going to say Magical Mike Ferguson. How about that? Magical Mike Ferguson.
okay.
Not to be confused with Magic Mike.
Right, from the
Channing
movie.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Which, quite frankly, a lot of people say I look like Channing Tatum. I would have to agree. And then Gabe, we
Yes,
have
sir. Yes, sir.
we have Glorious Gabe. How about that?
Glorious. I
or
like that.
Genius.
I like it.
Genius,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think Glorious Gabe rolls off the
I
tongue.
appreciate that.
And we're gonna call Stell Superman Stell.
Oh,
because he
yeah,
makes the whole
Superman.
show come together beautifully. It's just like magic when he starts pushing the buttons. So we have Miracle Mike, we have Glorious Gabe, and we have Superman Stell. How about
Nice.
that?
I love it.
I like that.
Thank you,
Look at
Mr. President.
All right. We now go to a segment on Fridays that, is just Not today, Satan. No, you're not a fan of Satan at all. You're not voting for him.
You know,
whatsoever.
the evangelical vote is very important. So I want to just say right now that I don't know Satan. I don't like Satan. I've never met the guy. I hear he's not the nicest guy, quite frankly. Makes Joe Biden even look like kind of a saint. So evangelicals, I don't like Satan. I've never met him. I've never met the guy. But come out and vote for Trump on November 5th.
All right. We'll get your take on the Not Today Saint story today.
She takes a train up to the great big city. She knocks the door and steps right in. He's just a fool that someone likes to pity. They work it out in the house of sin. Night games. They play for their night games.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
It says in the room.
My name is Alad Gross, and I'm running to be your next attorney general because our attorney general sucks and we really need a new one. He's wasted so much of our money and blown so many cases, he doesn't even keep count anymore. As attorney general, I'll stop scam calls, crush corruption, protect our families and our freedoms, and shut down abusive puppy mills. This election, don't just vote for party. Vote for good government. Vote Alad Gross. Paid for by Alad Gross from Missouri, Frederick Doss, Treasurer.
Join the East Central Area Missouri Right to Life for their Vote No Convoy event, Saturday, November 2nd. Gather for a vehicle convoy starting in Eureka. Join us as we encourage voters to keep Missouri pro-life and vote no on Amendment 3. Meet at the commuter lot at 201 West 4th Street. Arrival time is 8:30 a.m. Convoy departs at 9:30. Reserve your spot now on Facebook by searching No on Amendment 3 Convoy or call 314-580-9802. Join the convoy in Eureka Saturday, November 2nd. Paid for by East Central Area Missouri Right to Life.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Jewels on Hampton and St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler featuring Alvanza's jewel art designs with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, coins, flatware, and fine watches. Bring in your collectibles and clocks and sports memorabilia and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa, and jewelsonhampton.com. Call them at 314-752-5000, 314-752-5000, and jewelsonhampton.com. Jewels on Hampton.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. The 80s. Excellent. Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
I have a picture pinned to my wall.
Mr. President, you know this is Flashback Friday here. We're we're celebrating the 80s with all the bump music.
Well, like I said, Mike, it was a great decade, and I'm a big fan of 80s music. You know, I pick all the music to my rallies. You know that, Mike.
yeah.
Gabe knows it better than anybody. I pick all the music. Used to come out to Rolling Stones. Remember Rolling Stones? The great Mick Jagger. Right? I think he just had a kid, right? He's like 95 years old. He just had a newborn baby a couple of years ago. But I knew Mick very well, and then Mick kind of lost his mind, for a lack of a better term. But now I come out to Sam and Dave. You know Sam and Dave?
I do.
Hold on, I'm coming.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
the name of the song. Tremendous song. And then I love opera. I love opera.
I didn't know that.
I think you've been listening to, did you see the RNC, by the way?
I did.
It was a tremendous event. It was, quite frankly, the best RNC we've ever had. That's what everybody said. I didn't say that. That's what everybody said.
And you
But
wrapped it up with opera.
I did.
That was awesome.
Stell knows. Gabe knows better than anybody. But I wrapped it up with opera, and people said, "What is this? This is opera music at a rally, right?" But it had very important significance, and I think you're going to find that out sooner than later.
Okay.
And Gabe knows that better than anybody.
I do.
Well, speaking of Gabe takes over right now because it's Friday and 7:52.
It's the weird, the wacky, and the worrisome. These are the stories that make you say.
Look all the devil.
Oh, hell no.
This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Devil.
Somewhere to be sure.
Not today, Satan. Not today. Amen.
In our first story here, a bat escaped from a zoo in Germany by landing on a visiting woman and hiding in her clothes.
Huh?
No, God, please, no.
Elena Ofeli, I think that's how you or feel, or I don't know how to pronounce this German name.
The bat came from Wuhan. It came from Wuhan.
The umlauts from Wuhan.
It came from China, Gabe. Just say the word.
Okay.
It came from China.
Now she said that her and her young son were walking through the bat cave at the Karlsruhe Zoo. I don't know how to pronounce these names.
That was their first mistake.
It's in
Go on,
southwestern
Gabe,
Germany.
Don't get nervous. Come on. Don't get nervous.
No. Now, when she got home, she removed her jacket and the bat fell out.
Oh.
So then she contacted an animal expert and put the bat in a box with honey water and a banana overnight. A nice little overnight stay, make him comfortable. And then her and her husband and her son returned the bat to the zoo the following day. So no harm, no foul.
Okay.
And hopefully the second version of the China virus was not passed along.
Well, it came from a lab in Wuhan with Dr. Anthony Fauci, who I think has about as many credentials as Dr. Jill Biden. But it came from Wuhan in a lab, and nobody thought I could handle COVID the way I did. I actually did a great job. You saw the economy bounce back. We made a super V, Gabe. Remember that? We made a super V with the economy, and we're going to bring it back even better.
I love it. So speaking of zoos, 5 elephants in a Colorado zoo could someday sue for their freedom.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
The animal advocacy group, the Non-Human Rights Project, says Missy, Kimba, Lucky, Lulu, and Jumbo, all elephants born in the wild in Africa, should be able to use a long-held legal process that's mainly for prisoners to dispute their detention. The group is hoping the state Supreme Court sides with them and declares the elephants persons under the law.
The last thing I want is for Rosie to be able to sue me for something. Let's not go down this road.
Now, are we talking about Rosie O'Donnell?
No.
Is that the Rosie? Because Rosie and I, we had quite a beef back in the 90s. Rosie came at me hard, but I hit twice as hard. She's a nasty woman. Go ahead, Gabe. Go ahead. Gabe knows better than anybody.
I know better than anybody that Rosie's a nasty woman. Now, okay, in our last story here, the British artisanal cheese community is reeling from what it's calling the Great Cheese Heist of 2024 after imposters stole tens of thousands of pounds of high-grade cheddar.
Well, isn't that special?
Well, speaking of cheddar, Wisconsin's a great state. It's a big state. It's a swing state. And I think we're going to win it tremendously. It's going to be a huge victory in Wisconsin. I love the Green Bay Packers, too. The Cheeseheads, right?
The
Cheeseheads.
Yeah. Now, Neil's Yard Dairy announced last week that they've been the victims of fraud. This resulted in the loss of 950 wheels of cheese. So that's 48,500 pounds of specialized cheese. And that comes to a whopping nearly $400,000 worth of cheese.
Maybe it's just my weird brain on this. what are you going to do with that after you stole it?
It's a good question. I think there might be mice behind this issue.
So what's worth more money, Gabe? I have to ask. Is it the $400,000 spent on cheese, or is it illegal migration?
Oh, there you go. There you go. You know,
because if you look at the southern border, it's a disaster. That was Lion Kamala. She was the border czar. Now she's not the border czar. She was the border czar.
Yeah. All right. Now the thieves quesoed the joint and made their move, figuring they had a Gouda plan. They didn't expect to be confronted with a Munster security guard, but he was provolone. So they had numbers and they jacked him up good. I mean, they really creamed him. A Swiss bystander tried to chase them down, shouting, "Hey, that's nacho cheese!" But the culprits got away. Now, when it comes to cheese puns, that really grate on your nerves. You know what I'm saying.
I think this guy's got a future. That was pretty good, wasn't it? He's like a modern day Shakespeare. That was tremendous, Gabe.
Thank you, sir.
Great energy there. Great energy, Gabe.
I know better than anybody.
Glorious Gabe. Glorious Gabe. That's what we call him. Kind of like Honest Gabe, but Glorious Gabe.
That's it. All right, Mr. President, thank you so much for coming into the studio. And do you also recommend Danny Defines The Next Gen this weekend?
Well, I don't know how many of your listeners know this. I think a lot of them do, but there's a tremendous guy, very handsome, 8 p.m. every Sunday. It's called The Next Gen with Danny Define. He's a tremendous patriot. Thank you.
Republican Adam Schnelting is a husband, father, and soldier. As an Army combat engineer, Schnelting trained to fight for us, trained to solve problems, and that's just what he's been doing. As state representative, Adam fought to keep men out of our daughters' sports and bathrooms. He voted to cut our taxes and fully fund our schools, and his tough on crime stance has earned him the endorsement of the Fraternal Order of Police. November 5th, vote Adam Schnelting for state senate, and he'll get the job done for St. Charles County.
Paid for by Schnelting for Missouri, Mike Summer, Treasurer.
Craving farm fresh goodness since 1997? Anthony's Produce is your one-stop autumn wonderland. We're talking pumpkins bigger than your head, mums so hearty they'll outlast your mother-in-law's visit, and straw bales perfect for decorating. Need firewood? They'll deliver enough to keep you toasty till the cows come home. Plus, fruit and veggie trays so fresh, they'll make your taste buds do a happy dance. Anthony's Produce in the heart of St. Peter's. Check him out at anthonysproduce.com and tell him News Talk STL sent you.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Katie here. When it comes to your home's comfort, you don't need gimmicks, you need guarantees. At Elite Comfort Experts, we're your hometown comfort heroes. No flashy deals, just reliable service you can count on every time. From tune-ups to total system replacements, we're here to keep your family comfortable year-round. No nonsense, just expert care, because your home deserves the best. Call Elite Comfort Experts today, where hometown service meets real results. Elite Comfort Experts, St. Charles' trusted hometown comfort heroes. Call Elite at 636-887-0971.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. America's employers added just 12,000 jobs last month. It was far fewer than economists were expecting. The unemployment rate held steady at 4.1%. Economists say the job growth was depressed by hurricanes and strikes. Number 1 and number 2 on the campaign trail in Michigan today. White House correspondent Greg Clugston touring the Blue Wall battleground states.
4 days before the election, voters here in Michigan will see both members of the Republican presidential ticket. J.D. Vance is holding an early afternoon rally in Portage, a city visited by Kamala Harris last weekend. And Donald Trump will be in the Detroit area. One of the stops will be Dearborn, the nation's largest Arab-majority city, where residents are angry with the Biden-Harris administration's handling of the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. On the Blue Wall States tour, Greg Clugston, Monroe County, Michigan.
Former President Trump tells supporters he's going after a network that he accuses of being a leading purveyor of fake news.
CBS is no good. And in fact, in honor of you, I just sued CBS today because of 60 Minutes.
Mr. Trump at a rally in Henderson, Nevada.
You know why I sued him? Because she was on, and it was called election interference fraud. Very simple.
A $10 billion lawsuit over Kamala Harris's edited 60 Minutes interview. Today, Harris will campaign in North Carolina. Mr. Trump will be there later in the day. The two to hold dueling rallies less than 10 miles apart. Gunfire erupted as people were partying early today in downtown Orlando, Florida. 2 people killed, 6 others hospitalized. A 17-year-old suspect is in custody. Stock futures higher on Wall Street ahead of the opening bell. Dow futures up 198 points. Nasdaq futures ahead 96. The S&P futures 28 points higher. More on these stories at townhall.com.
To understand the impact this election may have on their retirement savings, our entire economy could face a monumental shift that could destroy a huge amount of value many Americans have stored in their 401ks or IRAs. In times like these, the most trusted store of wealth in human history stands out: physical gold and silver. Many Americans have looked to True Gold Republic for help. They specialize in helping those with a 401k, IRA, or other retirement accounts convert their stocks and bonds into physical gold and silver to protect their hard-earned savings. True Gold is offering listeners a free copy of their Election Gold Protection Kit today. To claim yours, call 800-300-GOLD. This information is free and might very well save your comfortable retirement. By acting before the election, you can still make a tax and penalty-free conversion with the help of True Gold's award-winning team. Call 800-300-GOLD. That's 800-300-GOLD. True Gold Republic is not a financial advisor. Consult with your tax advisor before investing. Call 800-300-46.
From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Shane.
This hour of News Talk STL, brought to you by Piccadilly Palace, located in Union, Missouri. The ultimate family fun center is Piccadilly Palace. Call 314-860-6418 or visit piccadillypalace.com.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are ignoring kitchen table issues. Liberals are fighting to defund the police, indoctrinate kids, open the border, and put boys in girls' sports. I'm Ann Wagner. The people I talk to know better. Let's work for what matters most. Lower costs, parents' rights, and safer streets.
Ann Wagner is working for common sense solutions to the problems you face. She's challenged the big government machine in Washington and delivered a tax cut for middle-class families. Ann has stood with parents to defend their right to make decisions on the upbringing, education, and care of their children, protecting our kids from radical leftist indoctrination. And as crime rises, Ann has worked to protect our safety by fighting efforts to defund our brave police.
I'm Ann Wagner, and I approve this message. So pull up a chair, and together we'll turn the tables on Washington.
Fighting for your family. Ann Wagner for Congress. Paid for by Ann Wagner for Congress.
Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy?
Gabe Pfeiffer.
There's something serious I have to tell you about the future.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm.
Get up, St. Louis.
Hey, will you guys knock it off?
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin God.
It's Friday!
All right, a little math equation for you guys here, okay? Mark Cuban plus The View equals
1,000 plus on the Trump side.
Yeah, I was going to say oratory brilliance. Do you not agree?
Okay,
no,
I'm sorry.
no,
I'm
maybe
sorry.
not. Maybe
No,
not.
no.
I was going to say brain dead.
There you go. Well, it's somewhere in between you and this. Yeah. All right. By the way, we've got fantastic live local conservative talks 7 days a week here, including, and if this is a show you're not following yet, you really ought to be doing that. That is Stand and Fight with Senator Nick Schroer. That happens Sunday afternoon, 6:00. And of course, if you happen to miss that, I don't know why you would be doing something different on Sundays, but if you do, you can go to our archive of our programs on YouTube and of course Rumble as well. All right. It is 8:06 right now. Got Gabe here, got Stella here. Danny Define from Next Gen on Sundays as well in here, man. That was so much fun last hour. Thank you so much.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What did I miss?
Yeah, exactly.
Did I miss anything?
The former president was here.
Yeah, the former president was here. It was great.
Check
Yeah,
out the
exactly.
podcast.
I must have just missed.
You know
Just
what?
missed it.
I've never seen the two of you in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, it's like what Clark Kent and
Yeah,
Superman.
That's
right?
right. Yeah, precisely.
And you're wearing glasses, aren't you?
I know.
See, Trump doesn't wear glasses.
No, he doesn't.
So yeah, I just missed him. Maybe I'll catch him next week after
Yeah.
a victory, hopefully.
Okay, so Mark Cuban goes on The View, which is a recipe for either disaster or some of the greatest stuff ever.
Sounds like the
depending on-
setup for
yeah,
a joke.
Precisely. Yeah.
Mark Cuban walks into the
That's
View.
right. And an insane sports owner and 4 or 5, I don't even know how many there are anymore, insane women walk into a bar.
Turkey heads.
Yeah, exactly. And so part of that interview, here is what was said, and this is everywhere. And now Mark Cuban's backpedaling. I mean, normally when Mark Cuban F's something up in a big way, he just leans into it and just keeps throwing fists and just looks dumber and dumber and dumber. But now he's like trying to backpedal and apologize. But here's the clip that actually got everybody going, wait, what?
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
Okay. Like Trump, don't like Trump, whatever. How do you take that seriously if you are even the slightest bit objective on anything?
It is a demonstrably false statement
Yeah.
that he made there. It's demonstrably false. I mean,
mean-
you could start with any. You just pick one. Pick a random woman that has been anywhere near Donald Trump. He's like, oh, it's a pretty smart, strong lady.
Has he kept company with some very let's say not classy, strong, or smart? Yes, he's had his little stable on the side. So yeah, but when you look at his administration, particularly some of his business, but generally, really?
Yeah, well,
this is what you're going to argue.
You're getting a party mixed up with the party.
Yeah, really.
I mean, because the thing is, Donald Trump at a party, yeah, you could probably make that case. Donald Trump heading the Republican Party, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. I mean, but to argue, you never see him around was a stronger,
Strong,
intelligent,
intelligent, yeah.
You mean like Tulsi Gabbard?
Yeah, seriously.
Right.
Kayleigh McEnany.
Kayleigh McEnany, wow, when she was the press secretary,
Oh,
she would just
man.
hand out spankings after spankings
With a
and
smile.
With a smile, I mean, she would dice people up like a surgeon. It was incredible.
She knew how to use that binder.
Oh yeah, she did. Oh, she came with receipts.
Yes.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, and then of course, Sarah
Sarah
Huckabee
Sanders
Right,
as a
after that.
follow up. Now she would do it deadpan, but she'd still be whooping them.
Right.
She's just like, yeah, no, that's not right.
And now she's a governor.
Yes, that's
you
right.
know, as well.
Remember when Sean Spicer was the press secretary? I called that out of the gate. I'm like, this guy's going to last maybe a month and a half. And I think he was right around there.
Yeah.
And then Huckabee came in. But McEnany was just top notch. And I don't know. Has Trump hinted at all who would be the press secretary?
No, he really hasn't.
Yeah,
I
which is
mean, I
interesting.
could not imagine like McEnany wanting the job again just because she's really got a good gig with a regular schedule on like Fox now.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dana Perino. I mean, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders is kind of busy, running a state and everything. So I don't know. I mean, his current press secretary, I forgot what her name is. But my guess would be she would be in line for that type of role.
Who, Laura Loomer?
No.
Oh no!
Speaking of
Stop
the women that you don't,
no,
my God,
no.
that's.
But hey, I do have a suggestion.
Yeah,
Larry Elder.
Oh, there you go.
Oh my!
Yeah,
He would be awesome.
Imagine some snot-nosed
Oh.
kid journalist trying to get one over on Larry Elder.
Oh, he'd be great.
Let me maybe even do you one better here, Gabe. What
okay.
about Tucker Carlson?
Oh, that would be pretty good too. I mean, basically, either one of those guys would eviscerate anybody who's like, "What are you talking about?"
Right.
Tucker Carlson would be indignant about it. Larry Elder would be very dignified, but he would still, rip your throat out the entire time. It's kind of hilarious.
And Tucker had Trump yesterday. They taped a conversation.
Oh, they did another one.
I saw that.
Yeah, so you had JD Vance on Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then-
4
and this-
hours.
And this is
4 hours
with
I haven't seen that
Trump
one
and Tucker. This is not the first time he was on there. I think he was on this is the second or third time he's on there, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Might be the third this election
Right.
season, I think.
And so, I mean, that's, it's probably going to reach, the same number of people, but it's more content for all the social media cuts and talk radio and TV and everything out there as well.
And by the way, you mentioned 4 hours.
On
Danny,
Rogan?
With JD Vance and Rogan.
for
Yeah.
JD. The Trump one is also 4 hours, so you got to go to the last hour to get to the Trump section because you have some other special guests before that. So it's actually a 4-hour video.
Okay. Yeah, he did two,
But he only did an hour.
almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
Of just exclusive Trump stuff. It's
Okay.
about 3 hours.
I
At
don't
least
know
on,
that you
at least
need
on YouTube.
I don't know that you need an opening band if your podcast interview is going to be Donald Trump. I don't know that you need an opener.
Yeah.
Well, it just shows because you're looking at the numbers, and last estimate I saw, it had over 60 million views.
Yeah.
It was something insane.
It is crazy.
We all knew that this was going to become the most watched, listened, and downloaded podcast episode in history, without a doubt.
Yeah. So this could be the nail in the coffin for the mainstream media. And I think that I think they've been on life support anyway for years.
Mm-hmm.
But you're now seeing in every facet of life here, whether it's the media, everything shifting towards these independent journalists or podcasters. You're seeing it with now Trump talking about ending the Federal Reserve and bringing the power back to the people. You're seeing it with society, just how and I've said this on my show many times, that the whole cancel culture, political correctness, Boeing just ended their DE&I program yesterday. Did you see? I don't know if you mentioned that on the show earlier.
I saw that was there. And then there was also, some others like, what was it? Toyota and some others there are a lot of those that are getting so much pushback, and you're right. It's not coming from the mainstream.
We're just getting back to common sense. All of this stuff where we were 5 years ago, it seemed like everybody was just losing their mind. Everybody was walking on eggshells. We're seeing a shift in society right now. We're seeing a shift in media. And this is such a historic time, not only for our country, but across the world.
Now, between the pushback against the woke stuff, and then what the Harris Walls campaign has been pushing, and their various surrogates kind of putting their foot in their mouth, Joe Biden putting his foot in his mouth, and gnawing on it for 30 minutes.
To be fair, though, he thought that was the tapioca.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And
or the kid at the Halloween party.
The baby feet.
That was
Have you guys talked about that yet?
No, we haven't talked about that in particular.
It's been so nuts. I actually didn't have time to get to the president of the United States gnawing on a baby. That's how crazy it's been.
That's pretty messed up.
But between all of those things, it begs the questions like, is this campaign basically over? I think Larry Connor's commentaries was we already had it, right?
He already had it, where he said that the Harris campaign's essentially giving it to Donald Trump. They certainly seem to be trying. I would caution against anybody thinking that the election's over.
It's not over.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I'm not throwing a parade just yet, because I think what we're already starting to see in Pennsylvania and Arizona, there's a lot of
shenanigans,
red flag shenanigans, whatever you want to call it. And listen, these people, when you're talking about like globalists, the establishment, they're not going to go down without a fight. So even if Trump and I do believe Trump will get elected. I truly believe there's so much enthusiasm. I hate to use this term, but too big to rig. I really do think there's such a wide margin right now. But when he gets elected, they're going to try everything in their power between then and Inauguration Day to really throw this country off the rails. And I hate to be that way, but I think it's going to be very turbulent.
Jeremy Raskin and Mark Elias have both come out.
They've already said it. They're on record saying there's going to be Civil War type conditions. They're not going to certify the election.
We don't want him stepping foot again into the White House.
And this new DOD directive, this 5240, with using lethal force against American citizens. I don't know if you guys discussed that, but that was just revised back on September 27th by Biden's Department of Defense. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff coming down the pike here, not just till Election Day, but even after Election Day, especially if Trump's elected.
Let's do this. And by the way, was that you got the point in that you wanted to make?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this because we got to get to an information segment. What we always do, Danny, I'm going to bring everybody up with our news dump here in just a minute, which we all kind of throw in, and then let me call an audible on the 835.
Okay, yes.
Guys. Something you just said, I want to follow up on.
Yep.
You said this could possibly be one of the last nails in the coffin of the mainstream media.
I think so.
Yeah.
I want to pick that up. With that conversation, because the last 2 or 3 election cycles, and each election cycle a little bit more each time, it's obvious that everything not is changing, has changed.
Right.
And
undeniable.
That affects us as well here. So let's talk about that 8:35, but let's get you caught up on all the news, including an update on early voting in St. Charles County, starting around 8:19 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. only on News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
What are you waiting for? Get up, get up, get up.
Missouri's Amendment 3 is cleverly worded to convince you that it only allows abortions until fetal viability. But it has loopholes that allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. Abortion proponents used to say safe, legal, and rare. But now they want abortion as common as the morning after pill. Plus, minor-age children will have access to sex change surgeries without parental consent. Vote no on Amendment 3.
Paid for by Leadership for America PAC, John B. Royal Treasurer.
As the daughter of an OBGYN, I learned from a young age that no topic is too taboo for discussion at the dinner table. This family-centered, transparent approach to health and wellness that my dad, you may know him as Dr. Randy Tobler, created for my siblings and I, is what we strive to deliver to our patients at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Sammy Tobler-Gregory with Body of Health, where relationships matter. Come learn about healthcare the way it ought to be and schedule your free discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
America Decides 2024.
Harry J's Steakhouse in Moscow Mills brings you Election Night 2024. You have to get out and vote. Election results, analysis, and opinion from the local conservative voices you know and trust.
Republicans, Democrats,
Independents. Coverage begins next Tuesday night at 7 with St. Louis's true conservative voice.
Right here.
News Talk STL. Brought to you by DG Firearms in Bowling Green and Senior Memorial Life.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The Flower Stop, celebrating 30 years of blooming success in historic Collaville. Owner Christy Stockglasner invites you to their open house, Saturday, November 9th. Enjoy refreshments, raffles, and giveaways while exploring their fresh flowers, plants, and endless home selection. Get ready for the holidays with the Flower Stop's festive decor. Pickup and delivery available. Visit theflowerstop.net or call 636-939-4401. The Flower Stop, locally woman-owned and blooming for 30 years.
Hello, fans of the paranormal. I'm Frankie, host of the newest show on News Talk STL on a Garage. And we'll be discussing everything paranormal, from ghosts, demons, hauntings, and aliens to Skinwalker, Bigfoot, fairies, and the Chupacabra. Every Saturday night between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., me and Jeremy will discuss mysterious events in St. Louis and surrounding areas, including gateway families and unsolved true crimes. That's right. It's all right here exclusively on News Talk STL from 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. every Saturday night.
Thanks for taking my call.
News, analysis, opinion.
Radio news junkie. Love every bit about it.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young.
Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be.
Where are the beat?
It's Flashback Friday.
I know listeners are going to think that Gabe requested this.
I didn't.
It
wasn't me.
No, it wasn't.
It doesn't get any more.
You're innocent.
It doesn't get any more 80s than this.
Oh man,
this and Living on a Prayer. You know, man, on this Flashback Friday. All right, it's 8:20 right now. Okay, so with all eyes on the race for president, what will the makeup of Congress look like after the elections? And then one aspect of early voting is going to be argued in court today here in the metro area. Time to dump some news on you.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
All right, as I said earlier, quick reminder, daylight savings time, actually it's singular, daylight saving time ends on Sunday. And normally this is where people in my industry for decades and decades have said, remember to set your clock, but it's not 1987 anymore. Your clocks are going to set themselves back.
Cher, where are you?
That's right.
The phone will tell us.
Turn back
time.
All right. We also have been dueling kind of the dueling sound bites from the dueling rallies each day here, just to keep you up to date on the presidential race. Both the candidates were in Nevada yesterday. So we're going with Kamala Harris first today, because I think we went with Donald Trump first yesterday. So Kamala Harris first today. She was in Las Vegas saying, you know what? We really need to bring down the cost of living and improve the economy. We need a Harris administration is what we need.
At the top of my list is bringing down the cost of your living. That will be my focus every single day as president. I will give a middle-class tax cut to over 100 million Americans. I will enact the first ever federal ban on corporate price gouging on groceries.
Everybody is cheering like clapping seals when she goes, we're going to stop corporate price gouging on groceries.
Whatever
which
that
just
means.
simply says that there's a whole lot of people who are either intellectually dishonest, naive, or just plain stupid, but none of them understand basic economics. Stopping federal price gouging, okay, that's a cute term, but what that really means is I'm going to stop the supply if grocers cannot meet the demand and meet it at market prices.
You know, Kamala really doesn't have any ideas at all. She's essentially campaigning against herself. I know she's really trying to distance herself from Biden to the point where she's almost stiff-arming Biden to not come out to her rallies, because she really wants to create some distance there. But look at her track record. She's never been a very bright person. She doesn't have any original ideas. I always go back to the border, because that is, for me, the number one issue. And I think a lot of Americans feel the same way. But she was a disaster. That was her one job as the borders are. And it was an absolute disaster. And the only way she gets people to her rallies is because of all these celebrity endorsements coming out, because I think they're seeing a Beyonce concert.
Now, it's interesting you brought that up. Danny Devine in with us here as well, because Donald Trump had a rally in Henderson, Nevada, which is right down the street from Las Vegas. Basically, it's a suburb of it. And that was one of the issues that he was hitting at his rally.
Through our open border, Kamala Harris is also actively aiding and abetting the worst human traffickers, child smugglers, drug dealers, and bloodthirsty criminal networks on the planet. There's nobody worse than what she's catering to.
And he's when he stays on message and hits those issues, he's most effective.
Let me ask this question, since they were both in Nevada, and I don't know if you guys would agree that Nevada is normally considered pretty much a Democratic state. Harry Reid had such a lock on that state. I'm wondering now if it's moving to a toss-up status.
It's assumed to be not safe Democrat, but leans Democrat right now.
Especially
is the last
it's a
one I
light
saw.
blue.
Yeah.
Very light blue.
Especially with the no tax on tips thing.
Right.
Almost purple.
Yeah, not quite purple, but basically what Trump is
indigo?
doing. Yeah, it's getting,
I was like, what is it?
It's getting there, but it's not as safe blue as it used to be.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talking about the illegal immigration and the southern border, this was a great headline I just saw from the Miami Herald, kind of tying this into the mainstream media.
Sure, yeah.
They had a headline a couple days ago saying 1 million Floridians would be kicked out under Trump's mass deportation plans. And then somebody posted a meme of Dr. Evil saying, Floridians.
Right,
Yeah, 1 million Floridians are going to be deported. Sure, that's what we're calling
I've got
now.
family and a lot of friends in Florida, and trust me, that's a very red state. They don't look at illegal immigrants as Floridians.
Right. Yeah, the actual Floridians are not worried about that.
No, they're not. And let me I know this is a departure because I want to go back to these other stories here. But is Trump going to be able to actually pull off a mass deportation? No. But here, let me tell you why I think he's right in actually starting the program, because you will get some. And what happens then is the word gets around, you'd better get out of Dodge. If it's worse if they catch you and deport you than if you just go back on your own terms. And it is a clear message to the other would-be illegal immigrants as well. So on this one, I think Trump's rhetoric and I think his campaign positions are spot on by going to the full-on hardcore, we're going to find you and we're going to deport you, because that flies in the face of academia, of media who have tried to convince us that, you know what? They're already here. There's nothing we can do about it. And what Trump is doing is saying, screw you. There's something we can do about it. Now, can we do like the full thing? Probably not with 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 million. However, I
That's
think
just
that,
under Biden. Those
yeah,
numbers.
yeah,
If
by
you
the
talk
way.
about illegals in total,
Yeah,
numbers could be higher than 30 million.
Yeah. And are 30 million going to run away? No, but putting that jolt in there will be some people say, okay, I'm going to try to get legal, or I'm going to get back before they catch me. So it will have a much bigger impact, I think, than a lot of people realize.
Oh, absolutely. It basically just, you getting splash damage here.
Yeah.
You got the, like you said, the people who are going to self-deport, the people who are going to actually get actively deported, and the people who are not going to come because they know, the party's over.
Right.
Yeah, that's actually been one of my bigger criticisms on Trump, is that he hasn't laid out a concrete plan for the deportations. But with Trump, at least there's that sliver of hope that, he will follow through on that. With Kamala Harris, it's just going to be a floodgate.
Well, think about it. But why did illegal immigration spike almost immediately after Biden took office? Because they sent the signal, we're throwing the doors wide open and a green light at the border.
Sure did.
So what Trump is doing right now is throwing out the signal, we're putting up a red light and we're closing the door. I mean, that's the signal that is being sent, and that makes a difference.
Power of the bully pulpit.
You have to. You even saw Trudeau up in Canada a couple weeks ago. He tweeted this out, that we're going to put a complete pause on immigration completely, just because there's been such a flood. He's so much different than what he said just a couple years ago. But this isn't affecting the United States. This is affecting almost every single country in the Western world.
Oh, and look at the mistakes. I mean, they're learning the hard way, not just here, but in Europe too.
Oh, look at the UK, look at France,
Oh,
Germany.
They're nearly lost, really.
They're fed up.
Yep. All right. So it's not just the White House, remember, that's up for election, everybody. Republicans are hoping to win back the Senate and win it back with a little bit of breathing room. Whether that happens remains to be seen. Here's the story from Town Hall.
With just days to go before Tuesday's election, Capitol insiders say expectations have only grown for a major GOP victory on Tuesday. Republicans feel certain they'll flip one seat in West Virginia and another in bright red Montana. That alone would give them a 51-49 majority, but expectations have also grown beyond that. One GOP insider telling The Hill, quote, "At this point, we have to have 52. Anything short of that, some analysts say, would leave GOP leaders disappointed at a lost opportunity." Bob Agnew reporting.
Okay. So they're hoping for 52-48. Now, that only does you a lot of good if there's a principled consensus and they actually work together to push back and undo what's been done. And so something happens when so many people get elected to the U.S. Senate that hey, I'm safe for 6 years, and the stupid establishment gene gets in. Not everybody. There's some really good principled people, but I would argue that this is as crucial. And I know people look at me like I've got three eyeballs when I say this, but this is as crucial as the White House race. I really do. Matter of fact, the House also, Republicans are hoping to, of course, Republicans have a 1-vote majority effectively on this. Speaker Mike Johnson was on the story with Martha McCollum on Fox.
If you want to end the madness of the Biden-Harris policies, the woke progressive left, and all the things they've done to us on the border, the economy, crime, the weakness on the world stage, this is our opportunity. You got to elect people like Allison Esposito in New York 18 and all of our Republicans up and down the ballot, because that's how we're going to save the country.
Can you imagine if Bob Onder has a majority to work with once he's elected on Tuesday?
Oh, wow.
Then it comes down to, okay, Republicans, if you win all the levers of power, because the Democrats, as Larry Connors was saying in his commentary a little bit ago, essentially gave it to you, we're watching you like a hawk. You better follow through.
Let me take it one step further outside of the House and Senate. Even if you don't like Donald Trump, okay, you can't stand the guy. Think about RFK heading up the CDC or the FDA, and Elon Musk, the Department of Government Efficiency, all of the,
Doge.
let's say, Doge.
I love it.
Which I just came to that revelation yesterday. My friend told me, he's like, you know what that stands for, right? And I'm like, no. I'm like, Department of Government Efficiency. Doge.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. But think of the side characters, if that's what you want to call them, that will come along in a Trump presidency. Elon, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK. You're not just voting for Trump here. Take him even out of the picture. Look at the cast that he would be bringing with him. Hopefully, I mean, he's been on record saying that RFK is going to take on these projects. Elon as well is going to have a significant role.
And I'm not wild about RFK. I'll be the dissenter in the room on
Really?
that one. Yeah, because he's an authoritarian. He's just a full-on authoritarian.
Yeah, but when you look at all of the chemicals in our food and how unhealthy our
Mhm.
society is, and all of the things that we're able to put in our foods versus like Europe, for example, they
Mhm.
have a lot tighter restrictions. And I know this better than anybody, not to sound like Trump here,
Yeah,
but my
better than anybody.
my fiance works at a hospital here in town in the ER, and she tells me all the time we have a very chronic issue with sick people in this
Yeah,
country.
absolutely,
And a lot of
absolutely.
it's in the food we
Mhm.
eat, the water, just the sedentary lifestyle. So that is a huge thing that I
Mhm.
don't think we can emphasize enough is we have a very sick country, and with RFK, I think he could help put a dent in that.
Let's have that debate someday
I would love
on
that.
here. Let's
Yeah.
see,
I know
especially
we're
if
tight on
Trump
time,
wins.
but
Yeah,
that's
no,
like
exactly.
a
I think
3-hour
that'll be a fun
conversation.
and an interesting discussion on that.
One extra note there, Danny, by the way, and you can ask her about this. Why is not every single product, so many products have listed on their ingredients, this includes a bioengineered product on there.
Mhm.
You have no idea what that is.
Yeah.
It just says bioengineered product.
Look at videos of people on the beach, like out in California from the 1960s compared to today.
In the
and
80s.
even the 80s,
Man.
early 90s.
Mhm.
We're a very sick, unhealthy country. And when you have a society that's chronically sick, you're not focused on what your politicians are doing. You're just focused on keeping yourself
Right.
alive. So when you have a chronically sick body, you're going to have a chronically sick mind for the most part. You're not going to be able to critically think and actually question
Mhm.
what's going on in Washington, D.C. So that's a huge piece of all this too.
All right, real quick here. A hearing in St. Charles County Court today hopefully should clear up the confusion over poll watchers and challengers during early voting. Okay, so early voting continues. That is not changing. You show up in St. Charles County. If you show up at the election authority office right now, you can get in line, and then starting at 9 o'clock at Element Church when they open up. So early voting continues. And that's even after an injunction related to a lawsuit filed by a Republican committeeman was issued. So the lawsuit argues that poll watchers and poll challengers should be allowed to observe early voting. Elections Director Kurt Barr says that state law only specifically references Election Day in the statute. I don't necessarily think the two sides disagree on what should be. The disagreement is over what the law actually means because it was written before early voting became a thing.
Right.
So we'll see what the judge issues today. But bottom line, you can vote early. That is not changing.
Right. Get in line, folks.
All right. 314-912-1019. I want to follow up on this. Talking about the Rogan interview here being one of the nails in the coffin of the traditional kind of mainstream legacy dinosaur media or whatever we want to call it. Did I miss one?
No, just still called an audible on the bump music.
Oh, there it is. Yep, there it is. All right, I want to follow because I got a few thoughts. I think this is. I want to pick your brain on this, Danny, from the Next Gen here on News Talk STL every Sunday.
I don't know why I said the things I said. Pride's like a knife, it can cut deep inside. Words are like weapons, they wound sometimes. I didn't really mean to hurt you. I didn't want to see you go. I know I made you cry, but baby, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I'd take back those words that hurt you. You said,
Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michael's Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
As we flip the calendar to November, we also reset the weather to normal for this time of year. A cool start, but a pleasant autumn afternoon. Sunny with a high of 62 today. Clear and chilly again tonight, down to 43 in St. Louis. We'll have some 30s in some of the suburbs. Now, the weekend forecast split right down the middle. Saturday's dry, mostly sunny, high of 68, with clouds and some wet times on Sunday as we bounce to 75. That's your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
Kamala's campaign wants women to vote for her, but to lie to their husbands about it. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's shelter to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
With the help of actress Julia Roberts, is trying to convince women to vote for her, but here's the kicker. She's also encouraging women to lie to their husbands about it. No kidding. An ad put out by the Harris campaign and voiced by Julia Roberts depicts a white woman in a patriotic hat going into a voting booth, voting for Kamala, and then sheepishly hiding it from her husband. That is how little Kamala thinks of women and our ability to speak for ourselves. She really thinks the way to win over independent women is to encourage us to deceive our husbands who may be Trump supporters. If that's not insulting, I don't know what is. First of all the women I know are proud and confident enough to voice our political opinions, regardless of how our spouses may feel about it. And second, what makes her think an ad like that would convince any undecided voter to pull the lever for Kamala? The Kamala campaign is a perfect example of how money and celebrity means nothing if your candidate is that bad. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
You know grit when you see it, and Robert Crumb's got plenty of it. A Navy veteran, Crump is steady, unshakable, always pushing forward for Missouri. Pro-Second Amendment, Crump knows you have the right to defend yourself, your family, and property against violent criminals. Like the mighty Mississippi, Crump doesn't waver. He stands firm to protect your freedoms. Send Robert Crump, Republican for State Senate District London, Jeff City. Strong, unyielding, fighting for you. Robert Crump.
Paid for by Crump for State Senate 2024. Chris Clark, Treasurer.
Craving real barbecue, St. Louis? Your search ends here. 4 incredible locations: Bogart's, Dale Smokehouse, and 2 Pappy's Smokehouse spots, each serving up mouth-watering, slow-smoked perfection. Only the highest quality meats, prepared with love and care by our friendly staff. From ribs to brisket, our full menu has something for everyone. Dine in for lunch or dinner, or let us cater your next event. Bogart's, Dale Smokehouse, and Pappy's Smokehouse. Where smoke meets delight, every bite is a highlight.
In the fast-paced world of digital marketing, making connections is a challenge for any business. But what if we told you there is a place where connections aren't just made, they're grown? Meet 2060 Digital, your premier Google partner and top-tier digital agency. We don't just follow trends, we set them. At 2060 Digital, we're not just another agency, we're your strategic partner. We dive deep into your challenges and develop solutions that drive measurable outcomes. Ready to elevate your digital presence with campaigns that connect? Google 2060 Digital today.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here. Join me every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL for a little fun with finance. We'll talk about taxes, the economy, finance, and most importantly, how to enjoy the lifestyle you deserve.
Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Sunday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Tune in on Sunday and visit serenitynowtax.com for your free copy of my book, The New Holistic Retirement. That's serenitynowtax.com.
Serenity Now! Number 1 for live and local conservative talk.
They cover the important stories.
They're not going to stop Trump.
Close the border now.
It just makes sense. 101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. The 80s.
Excellent.
Never been a decade like it. Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
The Power Station, Robert Palmer there.
Some like it hot.
That's right. Did you know that little trivia question about this band here is that the original project, because it was some guys from Duran Duran that put this together. And they were going to like have a different singer on like each song and just kind of do one of those rotating things for the album. But they liked what happened with Robert Palmer so much, like, you do it. You do it.
Just do it.
You do it.
It's all yours.
The late Robert Palmer, who had a congenital heart issue, unfortunately, that took him away way too young.
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, very much so. All right, it is 8:40. I want to be accurate because it just turned 8:40. Mike Ferguson here with Gabe Pfeiffer, Stel Ponticus, and Danny Devine from the Next Gen. We'll get a preview of this week's Next Gen. Obviously, with the election coming up, there'll be a lot.
It's going to be a big one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you mentioned something just a little bit ago. So I'm like, hey guys, let's call an audible here on this. We're talking about the fact that Trump was on with Joe Rogan.
Yep.
We talked about that at the time, and I said, and we all, this is no brainer, that it was going to become the most watched, most listened to, most downloaded podcast episode of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that it has very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then JD Vance was on there, not nearly as many, which you'd expect, but then as Donald Trump. And you said something that jumped out at me. You said this, I'm talking about this specific chain of events is among the last nails in the coffin of the old media, the traditional media. And I think you're right on this. Now, that doesn't mean I think we're going away, but we have to adapt or die.
Absolutely.
I mean, look at what's happening in corporate radio. I mean, it's why one of the reasons they're vulnerable to George Soros buying them and changing them. I mean, that's not me taking a shot at my friends, but that's just the way that it is. That would not be happening if the old mainstream dinosaur media had stayed relevant. If they had not been allowed to get pushed around and eaten up by the establishment, which is what they did. Which is why, and I'm not trying to just like pat ourselves on the back here. When we started this station 3.5 years ago, the work on this, we started doing it way before that. There was a core of us who were involved obviously long before that. And people thought we were nuts. But one of the reasons we thought this could work is because we could be different. We could be nimble. And that's one of the things that is working, and people hopefully are still reacting. But Danny, when you were talking about the nail in the coffin of the traditional media, we're not just talking radio, we're not just talking television. Basically, everything is a la carte right now, and the consumer has essentially complete control when it comes to media.
Yeah, and the great thing too about this shift and how we access information, and when I say we, I'm more specifically talking about millennials and younger, Gen Z, Zoomers. They're totally kind of disconnected from the mainstream media. But the beautiful thing about having this instant access to information, it holds the feet of the mainstream media to the fire.
Yes.
Because I'm seeing these stories now hours before Fox News, CNN, NBC News reports on them. And not only am I seeing it, millions of other people are seeing these stories on X specifically. And I've said this a million times, and I cannot stress how important that was that Elon bought X and relieve some of that censorship. But yeah, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. It's not my opinion. It's just a fact. Look at Joe Rogan and Trump. I think last time I checked, it was close to 50 million, give or take, somewhere around there, 60 million views on the Trump Rogan interview.
Because it's tough to do because there are so many platforms to add it all together.
Yeah, it was 42 million on his YouTube channel alone, which is not his. That's not his main platform. It's usually, I think most people get it on Spotify and and those kind of places, right?
Bottom line, whether it's 40 million or 60 million,
Could
it's
be
a hell of a
100.
lot more
than
what you're seeing. Who's tuning in at the 7 o'clock hour on Fox News or CNN?
I mean, we debated the lawsuit that Trump filed against CBS or CBS News and 60 Minutes a little bit ago. But what got viewed and listened to more? Joe Rogan's interview with Donald Trump or 60 Minutes with Kamala Harris? That's not even close.
Yeah, that's true.
Not even, because that's out. Now, the pro on that is just what you were saying. It gets out fast. It reaches more people. You can find exactly what you want. The con side, and this is on us as well, is that there's also a race to, the influencer problem, if you will, and I have seen, including on the right, some people who are just wrong or dishonest because they're building a following. And I think that we're in such a stage of infancy with this era of media that we haven't quite figured out the right balance as to how we, the market, hold them accountable, especially since it took so long to hold the old school media accountable.
Absolutely. Well, that's personally my biggest challenge for doing show prep every Sunday is you have to check things 5, 6, 7 times because there's so many people talking right now. There's so many headlines and so many conflicting stories that you get. It's tougher now. It's more tough now than ever to decipher what's fact and what's fiction. But at least with social media, you're able to dive a little bit deeper and do your own research and then come to your conclusion. Okay, this is true or this is fake. Whereas the mainstream media back in the day, when you only had 3 channels to watch at night, you didn't really have an outlet to fact check these people. You'd have to maybe go to the library and rent some books and spend 12 hours.
And a third of what they were all reading came from the AP.
Yeah, it all
came from the same place.
Yeah, well, you look at the media companies and who owns all the media. You can always draw a line back to like a few different oligarch type.
I have, over the course of my 28-year career between television and radio, and I've done newspaper work too, way back in the day as well. I've worked at affiliates of all 4 networks. And I am telling you that the main like sources still a lot of times goes back to the AP. And I remember when there was AP and Reuters and some of the others out there, but so much of it is all coming from the same place.
It's all the same.
Look at the Post-Dispatch, Post-Disgrace, Post-Dispatch.
Very few people do these days.
Yeah, I understand. But even if you look at it online, if you would, in your mind, look at what would be Section 1 and also the other news page with the opinion stuff, everything in Section 1, it's probably 80% LA Times, New York Times, Washington Post, Reuters, AP. It's all the stuff that's coming from out of town with such a small group of writers, and they're picking all these stories up. And locally, you've only got maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 stories in the front section.
Well, by the time it gets to the reader, it's been filtered and whittled down so much from the original quote that you're seeing a refurbished article or story, whereas Twitter, and that's why Donald Trump, he's used it brilliantly in the last 10, 15 years. You're hearing it right from the horse's mouth, whether it's Trump, Kamala, it's there. You're seeing it in real time.
Now, guys, I got a question here. So, back in the day, obviously we had the people who were curating the stories.
Right.
They would pick what gets the big news. They decide for us, first of all, what stories get told. Then they shape it for us. And then we would accumulate,
They were the gatekeepers.
They were the gatekeepers, and we would deal with it then. Nowadays, it's jungle out there. There are people who will still take a story at face value from their favorite source, and there are people who think everything is fake. Are we more media savvy now than we were then, or is it just a different sort of savvy?
I think we're more media savvy, but I don't think we are because of just what you said. I think we get into our echo chambers. We pick who we want to hear from, and we tend to believe what our echo chamber says. When you said you've got to vet and check it a couple different layers or several different layers, if everybody did that, we would be incredibly media savvy. I think we have been lured into this idea that we are more media savvy than we are, instead of 3 networks or 4 if you include PBS shaping things and going from, well, I question them, I'm media savvy, versus, oh, nope, this handle says it's got to be true. They retweeted it. I saw it on Twitter. Look at this. How do you know? Look at it's a link and everything, and not vetting the sources themselves, which is hard to do because we're drinking from the fire hose right now.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Let's say, hold that thought. 314-912-1019. I want to get that next, but I need to get to an information segment right here. Danny Define in the studio, because that begs the question. Okay, so what do we do about it?
Right.
If it's if we're unleashing the power of the free market, which is what Elon Musk did with Twitter, which, by the way, I agree. I think that's not just a game changer in any one election. This was a game changer in our history that we don't even understand the ramifications of yet, and we probably won't know for 10 years.
Yeah, thank God it happened.
Oh, gosh,
I agree. So how do we make the best of it and make it the best thing for our country's future? Let's talk about that. So let's pick up right there, because I think that's what you were starting to do. I think I was reading your mind.
We can talk for hours on this.
Yes.
We'll try to condense in the next
We'll
segment.
do it. We'll start at 8:52.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Number 1 for live and local
conservative talk.
Every day, something new.
news, analysis, and opinion.
I don't think that we've seen anything like this in modern American politics.
Kamala Harris is an empty suit.
She's in Michigan receiving communion from Gretchen Whitmer.
This is what is at stake.
You have to get out and vote.
Practice democracy.
101.9 and 94.1.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Work with people you trust. Work with experts. Work with people who are invested in your business needs for the right reason. I know a lot of people don't want to think about buying or selling a home as a business need, but it actually is. Mike Ferguson here for Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. But when you're making a transaction that important, especially in this economy, with the interest rates doing what they're doing, listen, don't just say, well, I can find somebody to list this house. Let me just give somebody a call or do a search, or, you know what, my neighbor's coworker's cousin just got his license. Let me help him out. Don't do that. Call Rodney and Jen Wallner at 314-810-SOLD. This is too important for your family to let somebody learn the ropes at your expense. Let me tell you what Rodney and Jen do. When you call them right now, 314-810-SOLD, what you're going to find is somebody who needs to know, okay, what is it you want to do? Tell me what this means for your family so that they can get to work and make sure that buying that home or selling that home fits your needs and gives you the best return on investment possible, not just for the dollars right now, but for the investment that will lead to for your family. This is about your entire family. Maybe you need a bigger place closer to that school district you want. You need to get out of the school district. Maybe you're in Illinois ready to move to Missouri to save money and get away from bad policy. Maybe you need to downsize. Maybe you need to move closer to your kids or your mom or your dad or whatever the case is. Rodney and Jen work to make it happen for you. Matter of fact, if you're selling a home, oh my goodness, call them right now. 314-810-SOLD. They've got so many pre-approved buyers that you may not even have to list it. And they fight for you. It's not just a matter of they're good at the search. Anybody can get a license and access the MLS search or the MLN search. What they do is they fight for you and equip you and empower you to make those decisions. And they've got a flexible spending plan or commission plan so that you are able to get your needs met. They're licensed in Illinois. They're licensed in Missouri. They know this market and they are a part of St. Louis. It's one of the reasons they've been so successful is because they do the job. They deliver ethical, honest, hard work that puts you and your family first. It's not just making a sale. This is setting you up for success for your family on something so important. In all likelihood, the largest investment and sale you're ever going to make for most people. So give them a call today, 314-810-SOLD. Just bounce your situation off of them. You're going to be impressed. I promise. 314-810-SOLD.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every week yet on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, it's Tony Colombo. Come see my band, Tony Colombo and the North County Sound Machine, featuring Katie Fitzpatrick, a tribute to Duran Duran, and Somebody to Love, a tribute to Queen. Saturday, November 30th at Diamond Music Hall, brought to you by Weber Chevrolet. Get your tickets now at diamondmusichall.com.
The Vic Borselli Show.
Proposition A wants to raise Missouri's minimum wage to $15 by 2026. I wonder what David Stokes feels about that. We'll talk to him 9:05 on Friday.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. The 80s. Bueller.
The 80s.
Let's go while we're young. Never been a decade like it.
Shall we play a game?
Never will be. It's Flashback Friday.
All right, just got a minute or so left. Okay, so it comes to like the new media, and we're in control more than the establishment media. So last minute or so, we got Danny Define in the studio with us. Where do we go from here? Because it's as much up to us as it is to the establishment, the swamp, the nefarious whatever is out there, whatever you want to call it. We're going to decide what the future looks like.
Yeah. And again, the biggest consumer of this alternative media, let's call it, but it's really not so much alternative anymore because it's getting way more views and way more impressions than the mainstream media. It's the younger generation. It's my generation, millennials, Gen Z, younger. This trend is only going to continue. This gap between mainstream media and sources like Twitter is only going to widen with that younger generation coming up. So, like I said, you gotta triple, quadruple check because there's people even on the right too that are putting out falsehoods.
Oh yeah.
So it's not
you
just
named one of them earlier.
Yeah, a lot from the left, but let's call it both ways. There's a lot of false information on the right too. So you have to really dig deep and hammer down on these issues, on these headlines, and cross-reference it.
Right. You can't just say, give me an echo chamber to run with, and I don't care. If you're mad when they lie to you, then care about making sure what you're saying is the truth.
Yeah, take the high road, because then when you're spewing false propaganda, you're no better than them on the far left.
100%. Next Gen this weekend on Sunday. You got about 10 seconds.
Well, elections on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can say. It's going to be a hot show Sunday, though. 8 p.m. right here on News Talk STL.
Thanks so much, Danny.
Thanks, guys.
Good to see you.
Looking for a top quality tactical gear and expert advice? Look no further than Discount Tactical, your one-stop shop for all things firearms and self-defense. Located in the heart of Warrenton, we've been serving the community for 3 years with our friendly, professional, and knowledgeable staff. From custom AR builds and silencers to the largest selection of parts, we've got you covered. Self-defense weapons, SBRs, knives, ammo, custom holsters, weapon lights, optics, and body armor. Discount Tactical. Online at discounttacticalarmory.com or stop by today and gear up with confidence.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a